What if I told you that youth is not a number, but a frequency, a state of being you can tune into at any moment, regardless of the date on your birth certificate? What if the feeling of being past your prime, the quiet ache of potential unfulfilled, is not a final verdict, but merely a symptom of listening to the wrong station? We live our lives haunted by the ghost of time, a relentless ticking that measures what we have lost, what we can no longer be. We feel trapped in a story someone else wrote for us, a narrative of limits, of decay, of quiet surrender to a reality we did not choose. We are told the world is solid, a fact, unchanging. We are taught that we are merely visitors here, subject to its unforgiving laws of cause and effect, scarcity, and competition. This is the first and most profound deception. The philosophies and truths that could set us free are presented as complex, abstract ideas, locked away in dusty books or academic halls. They are things to be studied, not lived. And so, we build our own prisons, brick by brick, with beliefs we inherited but never examined. The belief that our best days are behind us, the belief that we are defined by our past mistakes, the belief that our circumstances are more powerful than we are. But within this prison of conventional thought, there has always been a rumor, a whisper of a different kind of knowledge, a knowledge so powerful, so transformative, that it has been deemed forbidden. This forbidden book is not bound in leather or written on paper. It is not hidden in a secret vault. It is written in the very fabric of the cosmos, in the language of energy and vibration. It is forbidden, not by some ancient council, but by our own fear of its implications. It is forbidden by a society built on the illusion of powerlessness. Because to read this book is to reclaim your divine authority, to realize that you are not a victim of your world, but its co-creator. Within its pages lies the truth of youth, the forgotten secret to infinite creativity, boundless energy, and the power to shape reality with your intention. This audiobook, this journey we are about to embark on together, is the key. It is the oral tradition, the spoken spell that will unseal its wisdom. So take a breath, quiet your mind, and let us begin to read. We begin by opening the first scroll. The first chapter in this book that is not a book. Its title is etched in starlight and shadow, an invitation to the brave and the curious. Do not search for this tome on a shelf, or seek its text in an ancient library. This book has no physical form, for it is the very architecture of existence. Its pages are the unfolding of moments. Its ink is the light of consciousness, and its language is the silent, fundamental hum of reality itself. You have been reading it your entire life, but you have been taught to misinterpret its words, to mistake its poetry for prose, its freedom for a cage. To truly understand it, we must first learn its nature. The chapters are not stories of men or gods. They are the immutable, impersonal, and infinitely benevolent laws that govern the dance of energy and consciousness. Think of them as the operating principles of the universe. There is the great law of vibration, the foundational truth that nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. From the densest rock to the most ethereal thought. All things are simply energy in varying states of motion. To understand this is to understand that you are not a solid, static object, but a symphony of frequencies, a walking, talking energy field. Then there is the law of correspondence, the sacred mirror that reveals the patterns of the cosmos, whispering, as above, so below, as within, so without. The chaos in your mind is reflected as chaos in your world. The peace in your heart is projected as peace in your experience. The universe does not judge. It only mirrors. We will explore the law of cause and effect, not as a rigid system of reward and punishment from a distant deity, but as a perfect, impersonal feedback loop of creation. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every action you take is a cause that must and will have an effect. And woven through them all is the law of attraction. The magnetic heart of the cosmos that decrees that which is like unto itself is drawn. It is the force that gathers clouds in the sky, and the very same force that gathers circumstances and people into your life, all in perfect response to the vibration you emanate. These are not rules designed to confine you. They are tools, waiting to be wielded. You are not subject to them. You are a living expression of them. So why, if this knowledge is so fundamental, is it considered forbidden? It is not forbidden by any government, or priest, or secret society, though many have tried to obscure it throughout history. No, it is forbidden by a much more intimate and powerful force, the collective agreement of human consciousness to remain asleep. It is forbidden by the comfort of the familiar. It is forbidden by the fear of our own light. A population that understands its own creative power cannot be easily controlled. A soul that knows its own sovereignty cannot be subjugated by fear. A person who realizes they are the artist of their own life will no longer blame the canvas or the paint for a picture they do not like. The systems of our world, built on scarcity, competition, and control, can only thrive when the individual believes they are small, powerless, and at the mercy of outside forces. The forbidden nature of this book is the label given to it by the part of us that is terrified to take full responsibility for our own reality. It is the inner voice of doubt, conditioned by generations of limitation, that scoffs and says, "That's impossible," or "Who are you to think you can change your fate?" This knowledge is forbidden because it is the ultimate key to freedom. And true freedom is the most terrifying and magnificent responsibility a soul can ever accept. This is where we discover the true meaning of youth. The truth of youth, hidden within this forbidden knowledge, has nothing to do with chronological age. It is not the naivete of a child who has not yet been hurt. It is the pristine awareness of the soul before it was conditioned. It is the state of pure potential, the consciousness of the uncarved block, the unpainted canvas, where any and all possibilities are equally real and available. It is the potent, formless energy of the I, and before society forces it into the small boxes of I am this, or I am not that, as we grow, we accumulate scars, beliefs, and identities. We trade the infinite horizon of potential for the safety of a defined personality. We forget our true nature as creators and begin to identify with our creations, especially the painful ones. The truth of youth is the power to, at any moment, dissolve those self-imposed labels and return to that state of pure, creative potential. It is the ability to see the world anew each morning, not through the tired filter of yesterday's disappointments, but through the vibrant lens of infinite possibility. This book, this forbidden knowledge, is the map that leads us back to that inner fountain. The ancient philosopher Plato, thousands of years ago, crafted a perfect allegory for this very journey. He asked us to imagine humanity living in a deep, dark cave, chained in such a way that they can only face a flat wall. Behind them, a fire burns, and between the fire and the prisoners, people walk, carrying objects whose shadows are cast upon the wall. For the prisoners, these flickering shadows are the only reality they have ever known. They name them, study them, and believe in them with absolute certainty. This cave is our consensus reality. The shadows are the limiting beliefs, the daily dramas, the illusion of lack and separation that we mistake for the truth. Now, imagine one prisoner breaks free. He turns and sees the fire, the objects, the mechanics of the illusion. It's painful. His eyes are not used to the light. He stumbles out of the cave and into the blinding radiance of the sun. This sun, this brilliant, overwhelming light, is the truth of his own creative power. It is the forbidden knowledge. At first, it is terrifying, but as his eyes adjust, he sees the world as it truly is, vibrant, real, and full of infinite wonder. He realizes the shadows were just pale, distorted imitations. If he returns to the cave to tell the others, they would call him mad. They would say the world of light has ruined his sight, because he can no longer see the shadows as clearly as they do. This is the path of the one who dares to read the forbidden book. It is a path of unlearning, dismantling the familiar reality to make way for the real. Therefore, the first true step in reading this book is not an act of learning, but an act of sacred demolition. It requires the courage to question every shadow on the wall, to turn away from the comfortable consensus and face the fire of a deeper truth. We must be willing to unlearn a lifetime of conditioning about who we are and what is possible. We must begin to dismantle the structure of our old reality, stone by stone, and the very foundation of that structure, the lens through which every single shadow is projected and interpreted, is our own perception. To read the next scroll, we must first understand this prism. We stand now at the threshold of understanding, having accepted that our first task is to unlearn, and the first great illusion we must dismantle is the very nature of how we experience the world. We believe we see what is there. This is a profound and fundamental error. We do not see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. Reality is not a static photograph we observe. It is a dynamic masterpiece we are co-painting in every single moment. The tool we use for this act of creation is the prism of our perception. Think of pure, unfiltered existence as a ray of perfect, white light, containing all possibilities, all potentials. This light, upon entering your personal consciousness, passes through a multifaceted and entirely unique lens. This lens, this prism, is crafted from the sum total of your being, your beliefs, your memories, your traumas, your joys, your assumptions, and your expectations. The world you experience, the life you are living, is the resulting spectrum of color that projects onto the screen of your awareness. And so, two people can stand in the same place, at the same time, and live in entirely different worlds. Your brain is not a passive camera, dutifully recording objective facts. It is an active and masterful projector. Every second, your senses are bombarded with millions upon millions of bits of information. The sounds, the sights, the sensations, an overwhelming flood of raw data. If your conscious mind had to process all of it, you would be instantly paralyzed in a state of incomprehensible static. So, your mind performs a miracle of editing. It filters, it deletes, it distorts, and it generalizes, presenting you with only a tiny, manageable fraction of what is actually out there. What criteria does it use for this monumental editing process? It uses your beliefs. Your subconscious mind acts as a master librarian, standing at the doors of a library that contains every possible book, every possible reality. Your core beliefs are your library card. If your card is encoded with the deep-seated belief that life is a struggle, the librarian will dutifully deny you access to the aisles of ease and flow, and guide you only to the grim, leather-bound volumes of hardship and toil. The books on joy are there. The stories of abundance are on the shelves, but you do not have the clearance to perceive them. You live inside a fortress of your own convictions, and your perception is the guard at the gate, ensuring that nothing that contradicts your core beliefs is allowed to enter. This is not merely spiritual metaphor. It is established neuroscience. Deep within your brainstem lies a bundle of nerves called the reticular activating system, or RAS. You can think of it as the bouncer for your conscious mind. Its job is to filter the incoming sensory information and decide what is important enough to be brought to your attention. And how does it define important? It pays attention to what you consistently think about, what you focus on, what you emotionally charge. Have you ever decided to buy a particular model of car? Perhaps a red sports car. And then, suddenly, you begin to see red sports cars everywhere, on the highway, in parking lots, in commercials. It feels as if the world has been flooded with them overnight. But the cars were always there. Your RAS, having been given a new command from you. Red sports cars are now important. Simply began to highlight them from the sea of background data. Now, and this is the secret that unlocks everything. Apply this exact same principle to a belief. If you hold the unwavering belief that people are untrustworthy, your RAS will work tirelessly, 24 hours a day. To validate that belief, it will point out the shifty eyes of a stranger. It will make you notice the gossip in the office. It will tune your ears to news stories of betrayal. It will create for you a perfectly curated, self-fulfilling prophecy, a reality bubble in which your belief is an undisputed fact. It will filter out the countless acts of kindness, loyalty, and compassion that happen all around you, because they are deemed irrelevant to your chosen focus. Let us make this real. Imagine two people, Alex and Ben. They work for the same company, in the same department, and on the same rainy Tuesday. They are both called into the office and laid off. The external event is identical, but their internal prisms are worlds apart. Alex's prism is ground from a lifetime of believing he is a victim, that the world is scarce and unfair. For him, the job loss is a catastrophe, a final confirmation of his deepest fears. His RAS immediately gets to work, highlighting evidence for his tragic narrative. He sees news of economic collapse. He hears stories of friends who have been unemployed for months. He remembers every past failure in vivid detail. His world shrinks. His energy plummets. He sees only closed doors. His perception has painted a reality of despair. And so, his actions, or lack thereof, ensure that despair is what he experiences. Now consider Ben. Ben's prism has been polished with a belief in resilience and opportunity. He sees challenges not as roadblocks, but as detours to something better. For him, the job loss is a shock. Yes, but it is also a signal, a liberation. It's the push he needed to finally pursue the business idea he has been dreaming about for years. His RAS, aligned with this new, exciting focus, begins to scan the world for confirmation. It points out an article about a small business grant he is eligible for. It makes him notice a networking event for entrepreneurs. He suddenly bumps into an old colleague who has started a successful company and is willing to offer advice. Ben's world expands. His energy soars. He sees only open doors. The external event was the same, a simple job loss. But the reality that unfolded for each man was a direct reflection of the inner world they inhabited. The event itself had no inherent meaning. The meaning was assigned by the prism, and the universe then obediently conspired to prove that meaning correct. This leads us to one of the oldest and most powerful truths from the forbidden lore: the world is not as it is. It is as you are. Your reality is a mirror. If you want to change the reflection, you do not try to manipulate the mirror. You do not shout at it or try to break it. You must change the object that is being reflected. You must change you. The great work, then, is not to struggle with the outside world, but to begin the sacred work of polishing the inner prism. And how do we begin this work? Not by force, not by fighting our negative thoughts, which only gives them more energy. We begin with the gentle, low, but revolutionary act of observation. Become the silent watcher of your own mind. Imagine you are sitting on a quiet riverbank, and your thoughts are leaves floating by on the current. There is an angry leaf, a worried leaf, a happy leaf. Do not jump into the river to grab them. Do not try to stop them. Simply watch them float by. In doing this, you perform a feat of magic. You realize that you are not the leaves. You are the stillness that observes them. You are the awareness in which the thoughts appear. This creates a space, a tiny, precious gap between the thought and your identification with it. In that space lies your freedom, your power, and the first step in consciously reshaping your prism. For if perception is the lens that shapes our world, we must now turn our attention to the very source of light that passes through it. The raw, creative energy of thought itself. We have seen that our perception is the prism, the lens through which we interpret and color our world. But what is the light that shines through this prism? What is the raw substance of creation that our beliefs shape into the reality we experience? We now arrive at the very engine room of the cosmos, the source of all manifestation. We open the scroll entitled the Genesis Wave. For the truth is, this thought is not a passive, ephemeral byproduct of brain activity. Thought is energy. It is a real, tangible, creative force. Every single thought you think is a Genesis wave, a pulse of energy sent out into the quantum field, carrying with it a specific instruction, a blueprint for reality. The universe is not a static collection of things. It is a dynamic ocean of potential, and your mind is the stone you cast upon its surface, with your thoughts being the ripples that travel outward, destined to return to you as the circumstances of your life. For centuries, this idea was the domain of mystics and esoteric traditions. But today, the language of quantum physics echoes these ancient truths. Physicists now describe the universe at its most fundamental level as a boundless field of information and energy, a sea of infinite possibility. In this quantum realm, particles do not exist in a definite place until they are observed. They exist as waves of probability, a smear of potential. The act of observation, the act of conscious focus, is what collapses these waves of potential into the particles of our physical experience. Now, consider the profound implication. If the universe is a field of potential waiting for a signal, what is the most powerful signaling device known? It is the human mind. Tuned by the power of focused thought, your mind is a broadcast tower, and your thoughts are the precise frequencies you send out. This is not a metaphor. A thought is a complex electrochemical event in your brain, generating a measurable electromagnetic field that extends beyond your body. You are, quite literally, broadcasting your state of being into the very field from which all material things are born. The mechanism for this creation lies in the relationship between your conscious and subconscious minds. Think of your conscious mind as the gardener. It walks through the garden, observes the conditions, and decides which seeds to plant. Your subconscious mind is the fertile, dark, miraculous soil. The soil does not argue. It does not judge. It does not have a preference for roses over weeds. Its nature is simply to grow whatever seed is planted within it, using all the boundless energy and resources of the universe to do so. Your thoughts, especially those charged with strong emotion and repeated with conviction, are the seeds. When you consciously worry about not having enough money, you are the gardener, diligently planting seeds of lack. The subconscious soil, in its impersonal perfection, says yes, a command for lack, and it begins to orchestrate reality, to attract circumstances, and to filter your perception to ensure that a harvest of lack is what you receive. The subconscious mind does not understand jokes. It does not register, "I'm just kidding," when you look in the mirror and say, "I look so old today." It takes every repeated, emotionally charged statement as a direct order from the gardener and gets to work. This is why idle, negative self-talk is so spiritually corrosive. You are programming your own reality by default. This is also why the deliberate use of your imagination is the most potent creative act you can perform. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself already living in your desired reality, feeling the joy, the gratitude, the peace of its fulfillment. You are planting the most powerful and detailed seed imaginable. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual physical experience. To it, the blueprint is the reality. It accepts this imagined scene as a fact that has already happened, and it begins to bend and shape space, time, and circumstance to align your outer world with this new, dominant inner reality. Consider the legendary story of the actor Jim Carrey. Early in his career, when he was still a struggling artist, he made a bold and audacious move. He took out his checkbook, wrote a check to himself for $10 million, and in the memo line, he wrote for acting services rendered. He then dated it 3 years in the future. For Thanksgiving 1995. He didn't just write it and forget it. He placed it in his wallet. He carried this tangible symbol of his future success with him every single day. Every time he opened his wallet to pay for a meal, he would see it. He would feel it. For him, it was not a wish. It was a promissory note from the universe. It was a fact that was simply on its way. He was not hoping for success. He was living from the end result, from the feeling of already having achieved it. He was giving his subconscious mind a clear, unambiguous, and emotionally charged target. And in 1994, just before that Thanksgiving deadline, he was cast in the film Dumb and Dumber, and his paycheck was for $10 million. He had planted a seed with such unwavering conviction that the universe had no choice but to deliver the harvest. This brings us to the great work you are now called to do: the cultivation of a mental diet. The master Neville Goddard taught this principle with profound clarity. Just as you would not knowingly nourish your physical body with poison, you must cease nourishing your mind, and by extension your reality, with thoughts of fear, doubt, resentment, and limitation. This requires you to become a warrior of the mind, a guardian at the gates of your own consciousness. It requires a fundamental shift from passive thinking to active thinking. Passive thinking is the default state of the unawakened mind. It is reacting to the news, worrying about the future, replaying old hurts, gossiping about others. It is letting the winds of circumstance blow whatever seeds of chaos and negativity they wish into the fertile soil of your mind. Active thinking is creation. It is the deliberate choice of thought. It is catching yourself in a spiral of worry and consciously choosing to focus on a feeling of security, even for just a moment. It is replacing the thought "I can't afford that" with "that is on its way to me." It is the discipline of using your imagination for what you want, instead of what you fear. This is the power of the Genesis wave. It begins within you, as a silent, invisible pulse of energy. But it does not end there. It travels out into the infinite, shaping the very world you perceive. You now understand that your mind is not for merely processing the world. It is for creating it. Your thoughts are not meaningless chatter. They are commands. But how does this system work? What is the underlying rule that governs how these thought waves interact with the cosmos and attract their physical counterparts? To understand this, we must now learn to hear the pulse of creation itself. We must explore the cosmic symphony, the law of vibration. We have established that your thoughts are the Genesis wave, the initial pulse of creation. But a critical question remains: how does a non-physical thought, born in the quiet sanctuary of your mind, travel out and gather the physical components to manifest as a person, a plus, or an experience in your life? The answer lies in the most fundamental and pervasive law of our universe. A law so primary that the famous law of attraction is merely its secondary echo. This is the law of vibration. To understand this is to move from being a hopeful passenger in your life to a conscious pilot. We now enter the grand concert hall of existence to learn the principles of the cosmic symphony. The universe is not silent. It is a symphony of unimaginable scale and complexity. Every star, every planet, every tree, every cell in your body, And every thought you have ever had is an instrument in this orchestra, each humming, singing, and vibrating at its own unique frequency. Nothing is static. The illusion of solidity is just that. An illusion created by energy vibrating at a very dense and slow rate. At the quantum level, everything is a dance of energy. The law of vibration decrees that everything moves. Nothing rests. More importantly, it establishes the principle of resonance. Frequencies are naturally drawn to other frequencies that are harmonious with them. A tuning fork struck in a room will cause another tuning fork of the same pitch to begin vibrating in sympathy, without ever being touched. They are in resonance. This is the great secret. The law of attraction does not give you what you want with your words. It gives you what you are with your vibration. You do not attract what you wish for. You attract what you are in resonance with. This is perhaps the most liberating and challenging truth in the Forbidden Book. It means you can stop chasing things outside of yourself. Your focus must turn inward, to the cultivation of your own personal frequency. So, how do you know what your vibration is at any given moment? You have been given a flawless, built-in, and instantaneous feedback system. It is the gift of your emotions. Your feelings are the conscious perception of your vibration. They are your personal compass, your frequency meter, telling you exactly what signal you are broadcasting into the universe at all times. When you feel emotions like joy, love, gratitude, passion, or excitement, you are in a state of high vibration. Your energy is expansive. In this state, you are in resonance with all the wonderful things you desire. You are a vibrational match to well-being, to abundance, to solutions, to inspiration. You are tuned to the frequency of receiving. Conversely, when you feel emotions like fear, anger, jealousy, guilt, or despair, you are in a state of low vibration. Your energy is contracted. In this state, you are in resonance with more things to be fearful of, more circumstances to be angry about, more experiences of lack and frustration. The purpose of negative emotion is not to punish you. It is a loving alarm bell. It is the rumble strip on the side of the highway, a jolt from your guidance system gently, or sometimes not so gently, telling you the thought pattern you are currently focused on is out of alignment with who you truly are and what you truly want. Please adjust your focus. The work is not to pretend you don't have negative feelings. That is suppression, and it is toxic. The work is to thank the negative feeling for the information it has provided, and then to consciously do something to shift your focus, and therefore, shift your vibration. Here, we must address a critical error made by many who first encounter these ideas. You cannot lie to the universe. You cannot deceive the law of vibration. You can stand in front of your mirror and chant the words "I am wealthy" 1,000 times. But if you do so with a knot of anxiety in your stomach about the bills that are due, the universe disregards your empty words entirely. It is not listening to the sounds coming from your mouth. It is feeling the powerful, dominant, and authentic frequency radiating from your heart, from your emotional body. That feeling of anxiety is your true prayer. That feeling of lack is your true broadcast. And the law of vibration, in its perfect and impersonal wisdom, will simply say yes and orchestrate circumstances to bring you more experiences that match that feeling of anxiety and lack. Your true point of attraction is your feeling state. You must find a way to genuinely feel the feeling of wealth, of love, of health, before it has physically manifested. Let us use a simple metaphor to make this crystal clear. Imagine that the air all around you, right now, is filled with countless radio broadcasts. There are stations playing classical music, rock music, news reports, talk shows. Every possible genre of sound and information is present in the room with you as invisible waves of energy. They all exist simultaneously. You do not hear them all at once as a chaotic mess, because your radio receiver can only be tuned to one specific frequency at a time. If you want to listen to the beautiful classical symphony being broadcast at 107.7 FM, you cannot simply demand it while your radio dial is firmly set to 85.0 AM. You can't get angry at the radio. You can't hope the rock station will suddenly decide to play Mozart. It is an impossibility. To hear the symphony, you must become a vibrational match to the station. You must calmly and deliberately turn the dial on your receiver until it matches the frequency of the broadcast you desire. Your desires, the reality where you are healthy, vibrantly alive, living with purpose, and surrounded by love, are already being broadcast. They exist right now, on their own frequency. In the quantum field of potential, your work is not to strain and struggle to create this reality from nothing. Your work is to tune your receiver. Your receiver is your emotional body, your feeling state. You tune the dial by choosing thoughts, memories, activities, and environments that cause you to feel good, to feel gratitude, to feel love. As you deliberately raise your vibration, you begin to tune yourself to the frequency of your desires. When you become a vibrational match, the reality you seek has no choice but to flow into your experience. You will have tuned yourself to its channel, and you will finally be able to perceive it. It was always there, waiting for you. So, the great work becomes the management of your own vibration. It is an internal job. It is choosing to listen to uplifting music. It is choosing to spend time in nature. It is choosing to focus on what you are grateful for, instead of what you lack. It is choosing to remember a time you felt powerful and loved, and allowing that feeling to permeate your being. Right now, this is how you consciously participate in the cosmic symphony. You choose your instrument, which is your mind, and you choose the note you wish to play, which is your feeling. Now that we understand this sublime language of vibration, this cosmic music, how do we use it to compose our own life's masterpiece? How do we place our specific order with the universe in a way that it can understand and deliver? This brings us to the sacred and often misunderstood ritual of creation. The art of asking. We have tuned our senses to the cosmic symphony, understanding that our feeling state is our vibrational broadcast to the universe. We now arrive at the most active and deliberate part of the creative process. It is time to add your own verse to the song of creation. It is time to learn the language of the cosmos, the sacred and powerful art of asking. But first, we must erase everything we have been taught about what it means to ask. We have been taught to ask from a position of smallness, to beg, to plead, to petition a distant and judgmental power for favor. We have been taught to pray from a place of desperation. This is not asking. This is a powerful affirmation of your own lack. This is the language of the victim. And the universe, in its perfect, impersonal love, can only respond by giving you more experiences that make you feel like a victim. The language it understands is not the language of need, but the language of echoes. What you send out, you receive back. It is time to stop shouting your needs into the void and start whispering your truth from a place of fulfillment. The fundamental error in common prayer and affirmation is the energy of wanting. To declare I want is to scream into the quantum field that you do not have. It is a vibrationally precise statement of your current reality of absence. The universe, which operates flawlessly on the law of vibration, hears the feeling behind your words. It hears the ache of longing, the pang of emptiness, and its only response is to match that vibration, to give you more circumstances in which you continue to want. The great shift, the secret key to effective asking, is to move from the energy of wanting to the energy of having. You must ask not for a future event, but from the reality of a present fulfillment. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Instead of saying I want to be loved, you must find within you, right now, the feeling of being utterly and completely loved, and radiate that feeling. Instead of pleading, I hope I get that job, you must inhabit the confident, calm assurance of the person who has already been hired. This is the language of faith. It is not a blind hope that something will happen. It is a quiet knowing that it has already happened on the spiritual plane and is now simply unfolding into your physical reality. Before you can build this inner reality, you must first have the blueprint. Clarity is power. A vague request results in a vague manifestation. To simply ask for happiness is like telling a master architect to build me a nice house. The architect has no specifics to work with. How many rooms, what style, what materials? The result will be a confused and unsatisfying structure. So, it is with creation. You must become the architect of your desire. Take the time to sit in stillness and define precisely what you wish to create. Do not be abstract. Be sensory. If you desire abundance, what does that feel like? It is not a number in a bank account. It is the feeling of freedom, of ease, of security. It is the smell of a new car, the feeling of booking a flight without checking your balance, the joy of being outrageously generous with those you love. If you desire a loving partner, what does that feel like? It is the warmth of a hand in yours, the sound of their laughter, the feeling of profound safety and understanding in their presence. Use all of your senses to build this scene in your mind. The more detailed and sensory-rich your blueprint, the clearer the signal you send to the universe, and the more precisely your subconscious mind can get to work on its construction. With this clear blueprint in hand, you are ready to enter the sacred workshop of creation, your imagination. This is where you do the real work. This is asking. The most potent time for this practice is in the state akin to sleep. The drowsy, relaxed moments just before you drift off at night, or just as you awaken in the morning. In this state, your conscious, analytical mind, the guard at the gate, is subdued. The doorway to the subconscious soil is wide open, ready to receive a seed. Here, you do not watch your desired reality like a movie on a screen. You enter the movie. You are the star. You look through your own eyes, seeing what you would see if your wish were fulfilled. You feel the chair beneath you. You hear the words being spoken to you. You feel the emotion welling up in your heart. You must make your inner world more real, more vibrant, more compelling than the outer world of your problems. This is where affirmations find their true power. The words "I am successful" are a hollow shell until you fill them with the feeling tone of success. As you lie in your bed, you must feel the confidence, the pride, the deep satisfaction of accomplishment. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is what impresses the subconscious mind. You must loop this short, sensory-rich scene, this feeling of fulfillment, over and over again, until it feels like a memory, until it feels natural, until you drift off to sleep, in the absolute conviction that it is done. The master of this technique, Neville Goddard, demonstrated its irrefutable power with his famous ladder experiment. He instructed his students to perform a simple, seemingly pointless task for 3 consecutive nights. As they were in that drowsy, pre-sleep state, they were to imagine a simple scene. They were climbing a ladder. They were not to watch themselves do it. They were to feel the rungs of the ladder in their hands, feel their feet on the steps, feel the motion of their body climbing up and then down. During their waking hours, they were to consciously resist this outcome. They wrote on notepads, "I will not climb a ladder," and placed them where they would see them often. They consciously affirmed that they would not perform this act. The results were astounding. An overwhelming majority of his students, despite their conscious resistance, found themselves in bizarre and unexpected situations that required them to physically climb a ladder. One student, a librarian, and had a book fall from a high shelf and had to grab a ladder to retrieve it. Another had their car break down and had to climb a ladder to get apart from a high shelf in a garage. The subconscious mind, having been impressed with the vivid, repeated command, "I am a person who climbs ladders," bypassed the loud protests of the conscious mind and expertly orchestrated external reality to bring about a perfect reflection of the inner assumption. This Then is the art of asking. It is not begging. It is assuming. It is not wishing. It is embodying. It is a disciplined and joyful act of inner construction, performed with the clarity of an architect and the faith of a mystic. You now understand how to compose your request, how to speak to the cosmos in its native tongue of feeling and vibration. You have sent the echo out into the great expanse of potential. You have planted the seed in the fertile darkness of the Absolute. But now comes the part of the journey that requires a different, and perhaps greater, kind of strength. It is a strength not of action, but of non-action. After the intensity of the asking, you must learn the wisdom of surrender. You must learn to get out of the way and trust the process. You must learn how to become an open vessel. You have composed your symphony. You have planted your seed in the fertile darkness of the quantum field. Using the sacred language of feeling and imagination, you have asked, and you have been heard. Now begins the most challenging and paradoxical discipline on the path of the conscious creator. Now, you must learn to do nothing. This is not the empty, anxious, nothing of the passive victim, but the powerful, pregnant, nothing of the master. You must learn the art of becoming an open vessel, a state of being that is so contrary to our modern conditioning to strive, to hustle, and to control, that it will feel like a revolution in your very soul. You have sent your signal out into the cosmos, and now you must become the satellite dish, perfectly aligned, exquisitely sensitive, and wide open to receive the returning broadcast. The single greatest enemy of this receptive state, the one thing that will delay and distort your manifestation more than any other, is resistance. Resistance is the static that scrambles the signal. It is the energetic clenching of your fist when the universe is trying to place a gift in your hand. Resistance wears many masks. Its most common disguise is worry. Worry is a prayer for what you do not want. It is the act of using your powerful imagination to meticulously construct scenarios of failure and disappointment. Every moment spent in worry is a moment spent canceling out your initial, beautiful request. Another mask is impatience. Impatience is a statement of disbelief. It is the act of constantly digging up the seed to see if it's growing. A process which, of course, ensures that it never will. Impatience screams at the universe, "I don't trust your timing." And this vibration of distrust pushes your desire further away. But perhaps the most insidious and subtle form of resistance is the obsession with controlling the how. When you dictate to the universe exactly how your desire must unfold, you are slamming a million unforeseen, miraculous doors in its face. You are telling the infinite intelligence that orchestrates the orbits of galaxies that your tiny, limited, conscious mind, with its narrow view of reality, knows best. This is the ultimate act of ego, and it constricts the flow of creation to a mere trickle. Resistance, in all its forms, is a vibration of fear. It is a tightening, a closing off, a denial of the faith you claimed to have when you first made your request. The antidote to resistance is the gentle and profound state of allowing. Allowing is not apathy. It is not giving up. It is an active and vibrant state of trust. It is a deep, soul-level, knowing that the unseen forces are already at work on your behalf. It is the serene confidence of the farmer who, after planting his seeds, walks away from the field, trusting in the sun, the soil, and the rain to do their miraculous work. He does not fret and worry over each individual seed. He allows the natural laws of growth to take over. This is the state you must now cultivate. It is a state of letting go of the need to control, letting go of the need to know when, letting go of the need to know how. You release the oars and you trust the current of the river. You have already set your destination with your intention. Now you must allow the river to carry you there, even if it takes turns you did not expect. This state of allowing is a feeling of peace, of release, of quiet expectation. It is the feeling of having already received the good news, and simply waiting for the celebration to begin. Let us use a modern parable. Imagine you go online to your favorite store. You spend time, browse, and you find the perfect item you've been looking for. You place it in your digital shopping cart. You proceed to checkout. You enter your address and your payment information. And with a final, satisfying click, you press Confirm Purchase. Now, what do you do in the moments and days that follow? Do you sit glued to your screen, refreshing the page every 10 seconds for 3 days? Do you call the company's customer service line every hour, demanding to know the exact location of the delivery truck? Of course not. To do so would be absurd. You close the laptop. You go about your life. You take a walk. You meet a friend. You read a book. Why? Because you have an unshakable faith in the system. You trust that a vast and complex network of logistics, of people and technology you will never see, has been activated by your order and is now working in perfect harmony to bring that package to your doorstep. You simply expect its delivery. This is the exact state of mind, the precise feeling of faith you must cultivate after you have placed your order with the universe. Your imaginative act was your confirmed purchase. The universe is the perfect logistical system with infinite resources. Your only job now is to get on with the joy of living, in confident expectation of its arrival. How do you maintain this state of allowing when the old habits of doubt and worry creep in? You have two powerful tools at your disposal: gratitude and synchronicity. Gratitude is the master key. It is the ultimate shortcut to the state of allowing. When you are feeling genuinely grateful, it is impossible to be in a state of resistance. Gratitude is the frequency of fulfillment. It is the declaration that your life is already good, already blessed, already enough. By focusing on what you are thankful for right now, from the air in your lungs to the roof over your head, you broadcast the powerful vibration of abundance. The universe, in its function as a perfect mirror, must reflect this abundance back to you, bringing you more and more things to be grateful for. Start and end each day by making a mental list of all that is good in your life. This practice will shift your entire vibrational set point from lack to plenty, making you an open vessel for even more blessings. Your second tool is the observation of synchronicity. As you move through your days in this state of allowing, the universe will begin to send you small confirmation, like little winks from the cosmos. These are synchronicities. You might think of a friend you haven't spoken to in years, and moments later, they text you. You might see repeating number patterns, like 1111 or 444, on clocks and license plates. You might overhear a conversation between strangers that contains the exact answer to a question you've been pondering. These are not random coincidences. These are the universe's tracking updates. They are trail markers on your path, whispering, "Your request has been heard. We are working on it. You are on the right track. Keep going. Do not dismiss them. Acknowledge them with a quiet, internal smile and a feeling of thanks. Each time you do, you reinforce your faith, strengthen your connection, and remain in that beautiful, receptive state of allowing. You have learned to let go of the oars and trust the divine current of the river. You have become an open vessel, sustained by gratitude and guided by the gentle signs along the way. But even in this state of sublime flow, as you round a bend in the river, you may see what appear to be rocks, rapids, and fallen trees directly in your path. How do we navigate these seeming interruptions without reverting back to the old patterns of fear and resistance? We must learn to see them not as blockades, but as divine detours. We must now journey forward to uncover the profound and liberating truth about the mirage of obstacles. You are now floating in the gentle current of the river. In the sacred state of allowing, you have surrendered the oars, trusting the wisdom of the water to carry you to the shores of your fulfilled desire. But as you round a bend, your heart may lurch. Directly ahead, the water churns. Rocks, sharp and menacing, break the surface, A great fallen tree appears to block your path entirely. The conditioned mind, your old self, immediately sounds the alarm. It screams, "Danger, it's over." The system has failed. Fear constricts your chest. The urge to panic, to grab for the oars, to fight the current, becomes overwhelming. It is in this precise moment that you face one of the most crucial tests of faith on your journey. You must learn to see with new eyes. You must understand that you are not looking at a blockade. You are looking at a mirage. This next scroll is dedicated to seeing beyond this illusion, to understanding the divine purpose hidden within the mirage of obstacles. First, we must surgically remove the word failure from our spiritual vocabulary. Failure does not exist in the lexicon of the universe. It is a judgment. It is a harsh label invented by the human ego to describe an outcome that did not align with its limited and often short-sighted expectations. The universe does not deal in failure, it deals in feedback. It operates on the flawless and impersonal principle of cause and effect. Every outcome, without exception, is perfect feedback. Perfectata. Imagine a scientist in a laboratory, working on a breakthrough discovery. She formulates a hypothesis and runs an experiment. The result is not what she expected. Does she throw her hands up and declare herself a failure? No. A true scientist understands that the unexpected result is precious. It contains vital information. It tells her what does not work, which is just as important as knowing what does. It refines her understanding and points her toward a more accurate path. You must become the scientist of your own life. Every closed door, every no, every plan that goes awry is not a rejection of your worth or a sign that your desire is impossible. It is simply the universe, your loving and infinitely intelligent laboratory partner, providing you with critical data. It is whispering, "Not this way. The energy is not aligned here. I have a more elegant, more joyful, more efficient path for you over here. Adjust your course." Rejection is merely redirection. This leads us to a deeper truth. Sometimes, the universe's redirection feels like a definitive and painful no. You ask for a specific job, a specific relationship, a specific outcome with all your heart. You do the inner work. And yet, the door remains firmly shut. This is not a failure of the law. This is an act of profound grace. The universe's no to your conscious request is very often a resounding yes to a deeper, unarticulated prayer of your soul. With our limited human perspective, we are like a child begging for a sharp, shiny knife because it is beautiful. A loving parent, seeing the danger the child cannot, withholds the knife not out of spite, but out of love and protection. You may be asking for a job that would stifle your true purpose, or a relationship that would ultimately lead to a heartache you cannot foresee. The universe, which sees the entire tapestry of your life, not just the single thread you are focused on, will lovingly close that door to guide you toward a future that is in far greater alignment with your highest good. Trust that its rejection is your protection. Trust that its denial is a divine delay, creating space for something far more magnificent to arrive. Something your limited mind may not have even been able to conceive of. Yet, there is an ancient Taoist story that perfectly illustrates this wisdom. An old farmer lived in a small village. One day, his only horse ran away. His neighbors came to console him on his bad luck. "Such misfortune," they said. The farmer simply replied, "How do you know?" A week later, his horse returned, leading a herd of magnificent wild horses with it. The neighbors rushed over to celebrate his good luck. "Such a blessing," they exclaimed. The farmer calmly replied, "How do you know?" The next day, the farmer's son tried to tame one of the wild horses, was thrown off, and broke his leg. The neighbors again came to offer their condolences on his terrible luck. "Your only son, now crippled. How awful!" The farmer again replied, "How do you know?" A few weeks later, the emperor's army marched into the village. conscripting every able-bodied young man for a brutal and hopeless war. The farmer's son, because of his broken leg, was the only young man spared. The parable teaches a profound lesson. We are always in a rush to label events as good or bad, fortune or misfortune, obstacle or opportunity. But we are seeing only a tiny snapshot of an infinitely complex and unfolding story. What appears to be a disaster in one moment may be the very event that saves you in the next. This understanding allows us to embrace the ultimate reframe. The obstacle is the path. Within every problem, every challenge, every crisis, there lies the seed of an equal or greater benefit. The universe does not present you with challenges to punish you. It presents you with challenges to promote you. The challenge is the curriculum designed by your own soul for its evolution. The painful breakup is the catalyst that finally teaches you self-love. The financial crisis is the fire that forges your resilience and ingenuity. The health scare is the wake-up call that compels you to finally cherish your physical temple. The obstacle is not in your way. It is your way. It is the very chisel that is sculpting you into the person who is strong enough, wise enough, and open enough to handle the magnificent reality you have asked for. When you can truly see this, you stop fighting against life, and you start dancing with it. You realize that the obstacle itself has no inherent nature. It is a neutral event. Its quality, as either a stumbling block or a stepping stone, is projected onto it by your own perception. When you change the way you look at a thing, the thing you look at changes. Withdraw your projection of fear, and the terrifying monster becomes a loyal guide. So when you see the rocks in the river ahead, do not despair. Bless them, for they are there to teach you how to navigate with greater skill. Bless the fallen tree, for it may be protecting you from a waterfall just around the bend that you cannot yet see. The universe is never random, and it is never working against you. The apparent obstacles are simply the course corrections, the strength training, and the divine interventions necessary to deliver you safely to your destination. Often, however, the most formidable of these obstacles, the largest and most stubborn rock in the river, is not located outside of us at all. It is a part of our own consciousness that we have disowned, a shadow aspect of our being that we refuse to acknowledge. To continue our journey into wholeness and power, we must now turn our gaze inward. We must learn the courageous and liberating art of embracing the shadow. We have learned to see the universe with new eyes, to understand that every external obstacle is a divine guidepost. But now, our journey requires us to turn our gaze from the outer world to the inner landscape. For the most formidable and powerful obstacle we will ever face is a part of ourselves. It is the territory within our own consciousness that we have deemed too dark to explore. The aspects of our nature we have been taught to fear, deny, and repress. We have been conditioned to live only in the light, to present a polished, socially acceptable version of ourselves to the world. But in doing so, we have cast a long and powerful shadow behind us. This chapter is an invitation to undertake the most courageous journey of all, a journey into that sacred darkness. Not to fight a demon, but to reclaim a forgotten part of your own soul. We must now learn the art of embracing the shadow. The term the shadow was brought into our modern understanding by the brilliant psychologist Carl Jung. He described it as the unknown, dark side of the personality. It becomes a vast container for all the aspects of ourselves that we have disowned. Starting in early childhood, when a parent says, "Don't be angry," or a teacher says, "Don't be so loud," or society says, "Don't be so ambitious," we learn that to be loved and accepted, we must amputate these parts of our being. We push our anger, our vulnerability, our raw ambition, our untamed creativity, and our authentic sexuality into the darkness of the unconscious, hoping they will disappear. But energy is never destroyed. It is only transformed or repressed. These disowned parts do not vanish. They coalesce in the shadow, living a half-life, waiting to be seen. Crucially, the shadow is not just a trash bin for our negative traits. It also contains our buried gold. If you were shamed for being sensitive, your deep empathy and intuition may lie dormant in the shadow. If you were told it was not humble to celebrate your own achievements, your natural confidence and leadership ability may be trapped there as well. The shadow, therefore, is a source of immense, vital, and untapped power. To remain ignorant of it is to live a life cut off from your own wholeness and authenticity. How does this shadow self make its presence known if we refuse to look at it inside? The universe, in its infinite compassion and its relentless quest to make us whole, will ensure that we meet it on the outside. This is the mechanism of projection. That which we do not own and acknowledge internally, we will encounter externally, over and over again. Think for a moment about the people or situations that trigger an intense, irrational, emotional reaction in you. The arrogant coworker who makes your blood boil. The person you perceive as lazy, whose inaction fills you with contempt. The overly dramatic friend whose behavior you find utterly repellent. That powerful emotional hook, that feeling of being intensely bothered, is a luminous, flashing arrow pointing directly to an unexamined aspect of your own shadow. Your fury at the arrogant man may be a reflection of your own repressed desire to take up more space and own your own value. Your contempt for the lazy person may be a projection of your own fear of stillness and your inability to grant yourself rest. You see, the world becomes a perfect mirror, and other people become the screen upon which you project the unresolved dramas of your own inner world. Until you have the courage to withdraw these projections, to turn inward and own the source of the conflict, you are destined to fight the same frustrating battle with 1,000 different faces, never realizing you are only ever fighting yourself. An ancient Cherokee story illustrates this inner dynamic with beautiful simplicity. An elder is teaching his grandson about life. "A fight is going on inside me," he says to the boy. "It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One is evil, he is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, and ego. The other is good, he is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, and compassion." This same fight is going on inside you, and inside every other person, too. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed." So many of us spend our lives trying to pretend the dark wolf doesn't exist. We starve it, lock it away, and deny its presence. But denial is not mastery. A starved wolf does not disappear, it becomes more feral, more disparate, and more cunning. It will eventually break free in moments of stress or weakness, causing us to act in ways we later regret. The true work, the embrace of the shadow, is not about feeding the dark wolf. It is about having the profound courage to look it in the eye. It is to acknowledge its existence, to understand its hunger, which is usually a cry for love, safety, or acknowledgement, and then, with the full force of your conscious will, to choose to nourish the wolf of light. The process of healing and integrating the shadow is one of radical compassion. You cannot heal the shadow with judgment, criticism, or hatred, for these are the very tools that created it in the first place. Integration is not indulgence. Acknowledging your repressed anger does not give you license to become a rageful person. Instead, it means creating a safe, internal space to finally feel that anger without judgment. It means asking that anger, what are you trying to protect? What boundary has been violated? What injustice are you pointing to? You listen to its wisdom, and then you take its raw energy, which is simply pure life force, and you consciously transmute it into a constructive action. Perhaps you use that energy to set a firm, clear boundary with someone. Perhaps you use it to speak your truth with calm conviction. You have honored the energy without letting its untamed expression control you. This is true alchemy. The key to this entire sacred process is to approach your shadow as a loving parent would approach a frightened, misbehaving child. You do not scream at the child. You get down on your knees. You open your arms. And with infinite patience, you say, I see you. I am not afraid of you. I know you are hurting. I am here now. I will not abandon you. I am here to bring you home. This is the act of reparenting your own soul, of gathering all your lost and fragmented parts and bringing them back into the warm, loving circle of your own heart. By courageously embracing your shadow, you do not become a darker person. You become a whole person. You become more authentic, more grounded, and paradoxically, more filled with light. Because there are no longer any dark corners within you where you are afraid to shine your own consciousness. Your energy is no longer consumed by the exhausting act of repression. And in this state of integration, of profound self-acceptance, a new kind of peace begins to dawn within you. It is a peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. It is a peace born from the quiet strength of knowing and loving all parts of yourself. This newfound wholeness creates a new kind of freedom, a freedom from the desperate need to control outcomes, to grasp for happiness, or to resist what is. It is the freedom that blossoms when you finally let go. This is the great wisdom of detachment. Having journeyed inward to embrace the forgotten and disowned parts of your soul, a new quality of being begins to emerge within you. It is a quiet strength, a grounded peace that comes from the courage of self-acceptance. This inner wholeness now allows for a new, more graceful way of interacting with the outer world. It allows you to practice the sublime and liberating art of detachment. We must immediately clarify what detachment is and what it is not. In a world that glorifies striving and clinging, detachment is often mistaken for coldness, for apathy, or for a lack of passion. This is a profound misunderstanding. True spiritual detachment is not that you should own nothing, but that nothing should own you. It is not an absence of love, but an absence of fear. It is the master key that unlocks the final shackles of anxiety and need, allowing you to float freely in the river of life. Rather than desperately trying to swim against its current, it is the final, essential step in becoming a truly open vessel. The source of so much human suffering is the energy of attachment. Attachment is the energetic glue that binds our well-being to a specific, rigid, and non-negotiable outcome. It is the inner voice that says, I will only be happy if I get this promotion. My life will only be worthwhile when this person finally loves me. I can only feel secure after I have a certain amount of money in the bank. Each of these statements, while seeming like a focused goal, is actually a self-imposed prison. It is a contract you have written with the universe that gives it only one narrow pathway to bring you joy. Out of an infinity of miraculous possibilities, this creates a state of immense anxiety and energetic constriction. It is the feeling of a clenched fist, a tight jaw, a shallow breath. It is the vibration of profound distrust in life itself. When you are attached, you are constantly monitoring, checking, and forcing. You are trying to micromanage the cosmos. This frantic, fearful energy acts as a powerful repellent. Your attachment to a specific outcome, born from the fear that you won't get it, paradoxically pushes it further and further away. Because the dominant vibration you are broadcasting is one of fear and scarcity. The liberating alternative to this painful clinging is the practice of letting go. And here we must draw a razor-sharp distinction between giving up and letting go. Giving up is an act of despair. It is born from hopelessness. It is the defeated energy of dropping your desire completely and declaring, it's impossible. I can't have it. Letting go, however, is an act of supreme power and faith. It is not about abandoning your desire. It is about abandoning your desperate, fearful grip on the details of that desire. You hold fast to the vision and the feeling of your wish fulfilled. But you release, completely and utterly, your attachment to the specific timing and method of its arrival. The sacred mantra of detachment is this, or something better. When you adopt this as your philosophy, you transform your relationship with the universe. You are no longer giving it a rigid, demanding order. You are entering into a creative partnership. You are saying, "This is the feeling of joy and fulfillment I wish to experience. I trust your infinite wisdom to bring this feeling to me in the most perfect way, at the most perfect time, for the highest good of all." This is an act of profound energetic release. It is unclenching the fist and opening the hand. This relaxed, trusting, open vibration is irresistibly magnetic to the very good you seek. Imagine you are walking along, and you absent-mindedly pick up a burning hot coal from a fire. It is searing your palm, causing you excruciating pain. In that moment, what is the intelligent course of action? You do not sit down and analyze the coal's chemical composition. You do not ponder its geological origins. You do not try to negotiate with the coal or get angry at the person who built the fire. You perform a simple, instantaneous, and liberating act. You open your hand. You let it go. The relief is immediate. Your attachments to a past hurt that you keep replaying, to an old resentment you refuse to release, to a specific outcome that is causing you constant anxiety are exactly like this hot coal. Clinging to them serves no purpose other than to cause you continuous pain. The process of letting go does not have to be complicated. It is a simple, conscious, and decisive choice to stop harming yourself. It is the realization that your peace is more valuable than your need to be right, your need to control, or your need to have things be a certain way. This wisdom of detachment extends far beyond the process of manifesting specific desires. It is a key to peace in all areas of life. Consider the immense energy we waste by being attached to the approval of others. We curate our words, our actions, even our personalities, hoping to manage their perception of us. Letting go of this attachment is realizing that their perception is a reflection of their own inner world, not a true measure of your worth. It is the freedom to be your authentic self and to allow others the dignity of their own opinion, without letting it disturb your inner peace. Consider the attachment to being right. How many relationships are strained? How much energy is wasted in arguments born from the ego's desperate need to win? Detachment is choosing peace over being right. It is valuing connection more than correction. How do we train this muscle of letting go? The practice of mindfulness meditation is the ultimate gymnasium. When you sit in stillness, you observe thoughts, feelings, and sensations arise, and you practice letting them pass by like clouds in the sky, without latching onto them. Each time your mind wanders and you gently, without judgment, bring your attention back to your breath. You are performing one perfect repetition of letting go. Your breath itself is a teacher. Every exhalation is a physical release. You can consciously use it to breathe out the tension of attachment and breathe in the peace of surrender. In the profound act of letting go, you do not lose anything that was truly meant for you. You only lose the anxiety, the struggle, and the fear that were blocking its arrival. You gain everything, for you finally align yourself with the graceful, effortless, and intelligent flow of life itself. You become a true partner with the universe, trusting in its wisdom and open to its boundless generosity. This constant, beautiful interplay between our desires, our attachments, and our moments of release is not random. It is governed and guided by a powerful, internal compass. The language of this compass is the very currency of our being. To become true masters of our inner and outer worlds, we must now learn to understand and wisely spend the currency of emotion through the courageous embrace of our shadow and the serene practice of detachment. We arrive at a place of profound inner peace. The frantic noise of the ego begins to quiet down. And in this newfound stillness, we can finally begin to hear the subtle, wise, and ever-present language of our own soul. For centuries, humanity has been at war with this language. We have been taught to fear it, to suppress it, to judge it, and to medicate it into silence. We have treated our own feelings as enemies to be conquered, or as inconvenient weaknesses to be hidden from view. This is, perhaps, the most tragic misunderstanding of the human experience. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are not a malfunction. They are your most loyal and unfailing guide. They are the divine feedback system designed to navigate you home. They are the very currency of your soul. And to learn to spend them wisely is to unlock the secrets of conscious creation. We must begin by completely demolishing the concepts of good and bad emotions. These are unhelpful moral judgments. It is more accurate and infinitely more useful to see them as pleasant and unpleasant indicators on a guidance scale. Your pleasant emotions, joy, love, excitement, passion, enthusiasm, are the voice of your inner being, your soul, shouting, yes, this is it. This thought you are thinking, this activity you are engaged in, this path you are on is in perfect vibrational alignment with who you truly are and all that you desire. More of this, please. They are a green light, a confirmation that you are in the receptive mode, in the flow, in resonance with well-being. Your unpleasant emotions, fear, anger, sadness, guilt, anxiety, jealousy are an equally loving and equally important signal. They are an alarm bell from your soul, gently indicating attention. The thought you are currently focused on is creating a vibrational dissonance. It does not match the frequency of the expanded, powerful being that you truly are. This feeling is simply an indicator of that misalignment. Please adjust your focus. The emotion itself is never the problem. The anger is not the problem, it is the alarm bell. The underlying thought of injustice or powerlessness that triggered the anger is what requires your attention. To suppress the emotion, to numb it or distract yourself from it, is the equivalent of hitting the snooze button on a fire alarm while your house is still on fire. It does not solve the issue. It only allows the damage to continue unnoticed. Our conditioned human instinct, when faced with an unpleasant emotion, is to immediately run, to fight, or to numb. We scroll through our phones. We eat. We drink. We work ourselves into exhaustion, anything to avoid the discomfort. The path of the conscious creator requires the opposite. It demands a courageous and compassionate turning toward. The next time you feel a wave of anxiety or a surge of anger, try this radical experiment. Instead of running, stop, pause it, take a breath, acknowledge the feeling without judgment. As if you were a neutral scientist observing a phenomenon, say to yourself, there is anxiety located in your body. Does it feel like a tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach? Just notice its physical signature. Then, with genuine and gentle curiosity, as if you were speaking to a small child, ask the feeling, what are you trying to tell me? What thought am I believing right now that is causing you to appear? What fear from my past are you trying to protect me from? You listen for the answer, not with your ears, but with your intuition. In this simple act of compassionate inquiry, a miracle occurs. The emotion, having finally been seen, heard, and honored, begins to lose its charge. It transforms from a terrifying, amorphous monster into a wise and trusted messenger. You are no longer its victim, you have become its student. Imagine a master sailor navigating a vast and treacherous ocean, her eyes set on a distant, tropical shore. Her most vital and precious instrument is her compass. When a strong wind blows her ship off course, the compass needle swings, pointing away from her desired destination and toward magnetic north. Does the sailor become enraged at the compass? Does she smash it with a hammer? Curse its metallic body for not pointing where she wants to go? Does she throw it overboard in a fit of pique? Of course not. That would be an act of profound foolishness. She understands that the compass is an impersonal, infallible tool. It is simply reflecting the truth of her position relative to the fundamental laws of the planet. She thanks the compass for its unerring guidance, and she calmly, skillfully uses its information to adjust the rudder, bringing the ship back onto its true course. Your emotional guidance system is your compass. Your feelings are the needle. Do not curse them for showing you when your thoughts have drifted off course. Do not try to break them through suppression. Thank them for their perfect, loving guidance, and gently use their information to adjust the rudder of your focus. The journey back to alignment is not always a single, heroic leap. You cannot jump from the vibrational pit of despair to the sunlit peak of joy in one step. The vibrational gap is too wide. The work, as taught by the great sage Abraham Hicks, is to simply reach for a thought that feels a little bit better. It is the art of making incremental shifts up the emotional scale. If you are in despair, perhaps a thought of anger feels slightly better, because anger has more energy and power than utter hopelessness. From anger, perhaps you can reach for blame, which feels better than being angry at the whole world. From blame, you might find your way to frustration, and from frustration to a flicker of hopefulness, from hopefulness to optimism, from optimism to genuine belief. You gently, patiently coax yourself up the ladder of emotion, always reaching for the next best feeling thought you can access. This makes the process feel kind, manageable, and deeply compassionate. As you become adept at navigating your own emotional landscape, you can begin to use emotion as the very fuel for your creations. If intention is the act of pointing your car in the direction of your desire, then focused, high-vibration emotion is the act of flooring the accelerator. It is the power that collapses time and brings your desire into your physical reality with astonishing speed. This is why the practice of feeling gratitude is so powerful. When you can genuinely, viscerally feel a deep appreciation for things you do not yet have in your physical possession, you are performing an act of incredible creative magic. You are flooding your being with the exact vibrational frequency of a fulfilled reality. You are telling the universe, on the most powerful channel there is, that your desire is already a done deal. The more intensely, the more passionately, the more joyfully you can inhabit the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the more fuel you are pouring onto the fire of creation. Your emotions, once your greatest perceived weakness, now become your greatest superpower. They are the language of your soul, the compass to your dreams, and the very fuel of your becoming. By befriending your emotions, you have, at last, truly befriended yourself. This entire creative process, this dance of thoughts, feelings, and manifestations unfolds within a framework that is perhaps the most pervasive and misunderstood illusion of all. To take the next great leap towards spiritual mastery, we must now deconstruct our most fundamental concept of reality. We must dare to explore the very fabric of eternity. We have journeyed through the inner landscapes of perception, thought, emotion, and surrender. We now arrive at the very foundation of our perceived reality, the final and most profound illusion. We must deconstruct to claim our full creative power. Of all the invisible prisons we inhabit, none is more pervasive, more fundamental than the prison of time. From the moment we are born, we are taught to see our lives on a straight line, a fixed track running from a past that is gone forever to a future that is yet to come. This concept of linear time is a useful tool for navigating our three-dimensional world, for scheduling appointments and cooking meals. But to the conscious creator, it is a cage. This chapter is about finding the key to that cage. We will unravel the very fabric of eternity, and in doing so, discover that the only moment that has ever, or will ever, truly exist is the eternal now. Your entire life, all of your power, and all of your potential for creation are concentrated into this single, potent point, the present moment. Let us dissect the illusion. First, I consider the past. Where is it? You cannot go there. You cannot touch it. It does not exist. Except as an energetic imprint, a memory trace stored in the neurology of your brain and the cells of your body. It is an echo. To constantly dwell in the past, to relive old hurts, resentments, and regrets, is to give your precious, present moment creative energy to a ghost. It is to command the universe to recreate the circumstances of that echo, over and over again. Now, consider the future. Where is it? It too does not exist, except as a projection of your imagination. It is a vapor, a phantom, a potentiality that has not yet coalesced. To live in constant anxiety and worry about the future is to waste your divine creative energy building blueprints for disasters that have not happened. You are using the sacred power of now to plant seeds of fear in a phantom garden. The past is a memory. The future is an imagination. The only point of contact you have with life, the only place from which you can ever exert, influence, or experience reality, is the ever-present, infinite now. The great spiritual masters of all traditions have understood this. They did not teach of a distant heaven to be earned, but of a kingdom of heaven that is within, accessible in this moment. All creation happens now. You do not create a future event. You generate a vibration now. You impress the subconscious mind now. You feel the feeling of your wish fulfilled now. And that present moment creation then appears to unfold in a sequence of events that you interpret as future time. But the creative act itself is always, and only, now. When you fully grasp this, it changes everything. The heavy burden of your past drops away. For you realize it has no power over you, unless you choose to resurrect it with your present moment attention. The crippling anxiety about the future dissolves. For you realize you are not heading towards it. You are creating it with the quality of your awareness in this very instant. Living outside the now is the most significant drain on your spiritual and creative energy. When your mind is habitually dwelling in the past, you are often mired in the low-frequency vibrations of guilt, shame, and resentment. As we have learned, these are powerful creative signals. By replaying an old argument or a past failure, you are steeping your being in that negative emotional state. You are commanding the universe from the point of now. More of this feeling, please. And the universe, in its perfect obedience, will orchestrate new circumstances to give you a fresh reason to feel that same old pain. Similarly, when your mind lives in the future, it is almost always in a state of worry. The misuse of imagination. You are rehearsing for failure. You are meticulously visualizing everything that could go wrong. You are taking your divine gift of foresight and using it to construct detailed blueprints for catastrophe, which you then hand over to the subconscious mind as a set of instructions. Both states, regret for the past and fear of the future, are a profound abdication of your power. They are a squandering of your creative life force on ghosts and phantoms, leaving the present moment, your only point of power, empty and unattended. This understanding completely reframes the act of manifestation. We often think of it as attracting something from a distance, as if our desire is over there in the future, and we must pull it toward us. This implies a separation in both space and time. A more accurate and powerful model is to see all of life as a quantum field, an infinite ocean of possibility where everything you could ever desire already exists as a vibrational potential, the version of you that is radiantly healthy, the parallel reality where you are living in blissful abundance, the timeline where you are in a deeply fulfilling relationship. All of these are not distant dreams to be built from scratch. They are pre-existing, fully formed vibrational realities, broadcasting like radio stations in the eternal now. Your work is not to build the radio station. Your work is to use the power of your present moment, focus your thoughts and feelings to tune your receiver to that station. The creative act is an act of selection, not invention. By feeling the feeling of your wish fulfilled now, You are vibrationally aligning yourself with that parallel reality. You are collapsing the wave of infinite potential into the particle of your physical experience. You are not waiting for the future. You are choosing a different present. Imagine your entire life. Past, present, and future is a grand novel. For the author of this novel, your higher self, the universal consciousness, the entire story exists at once. The author can flip to any page at any time. The beginning, the dramatic climax, and the beautiful resolution are all simultaneously present in the author's mind. You, however, are a character living within the story. From your limited perspective, you can only experience the narrative one page at a time, one moment at a time. This page-by-page unfolding is what you perceive as linear time. You don't know what lies on the next page, which creates suspense and drama. The secret of the spiritual master is to learn how to fully embody the character on the page, feeling the sun, tasting the rain, while simultaneously accessing the serene, all-knowing consciousness of the author, who knows that the story is perfect and the ending is beautiful. This brings us to the concept of divine timing. The character on page 50 might be feeling desperately impatient, wondering why their love has not yet arrived. But the author knows that their beloved is still on page 75. And several crucial character-building events must happen between pages 50 and 75 for their meeting to have its profound and intended impact. This is divine timing. It is not a delay from a lazy or uncaring universe. It is the perfect, loving, and intricate orchestration of infinite moving parts, conducted by a consciousness that sees the entire symphony at once. Your impatience is simply the character forgetting that the author is in charge of the plot. To trust in divine timing is to relax into the role of the character, while having absolute faith in the genius of your author. By anchoring your awareness in the eternal now, you reclaim your power from the ghosts of the past and the phantoms of the future. You cease to be a victim of time and become its master. You stand at the center of eternity, at the only point where creation is possible. Now, with this profound understanding of the universe's fundamental principles of thought, vibration, emotion, and the nature of time, we are finally equipped to apply this forbidden knowledge. We can now bring this power to bear on the specific, tangible areas of our lives that we wish to transform. And we will begin with the one that is so often misunderstood, so deeply desired, and so readily available. We will now turn the page to the chapter on the ever-flowing river of abundance, having anchored our consciousness in the timeless power of the now. We are fully equipped to apply our creative faculties to the tangible realities of our lives. We now arrive at a subject that is charged with more human emotion, more limiting beliefs, and more profound misunderstanding than perhaps any other. We turn the page to the chapter on abundance. When we speak of abundance, the human mind immediately leaps to money, to wealth, to material possessions, but this is like looking at a single wave and ignoring the entire ocean. True abundance is not a number in a bank account. It is a state of being. It is the unconditional richness of life itself. It is an abundance of health, of energy, of creativity, of love, of joy, and of opportunity. It is the ever-present, ever-flowing river of universal well-being. Money is simply one of the many currents within this great river. Our work is not to chase after that one current, but to remove the dams of our own limited thinking that have cut us off from the entire river's flow. Your first task is to heal your relationship with money. For many, this relationship is fraught with conflict. We have been taught to see money as a scarce, elusive entity that must be struggled for, worried over, and hoarded. We have been conditioned to see it as a source of stress, a necessary evil. You must make a conscious decision to change this. Begin to see money not as an object, but as energy. It is a neutral medium of exchange, a tool that simply amplifies the intention of the person who wields it. It is a current of circulating energy that responds to your beliefs and feelings about it. Money loves speed. It loves flow. It loves joy and appreciation. It is repelled by fear, by desperation, and by the stagnant energy of hoarding. To allow more of this current to flow through your life, you must become a friendly and welcoming channel for it. You must bless the money that comes in with gratitude and bless the money that goes out with the joy of circulation, trusting that the river is endlessly replenishing itself. When you pay a bill, do not do so with a feeling of resentment and loss. Do so with a feeling of gratitude for the service you received, be it electricity or food, and bless the money on its way, knowing it is contributing to the prosperity of many others. To become this open channel, you must undertake the courageous work of excavating and uprooting the limiting beliefs about wealth that were planted in your subconscious mind, likely in your childhood. These beliefs are the very bedrock of the dam that blocks your flow. Take a moment to honestly examine what you were taught. Did you hear phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," a direct affirmation of scarcity, or the profoundly misunderstood and distorted phrase, "Money is the root of all evil"? If you subconsciously believe that money is bad or that wealthy people are inherently greedy and unethical, you will never allow yourself to become one of them. Your own moral compass will sabotage your financial success to keep you good. Another pervasive belief is, you have to work hard for your money. This insidious program equates the receiving of abundance with pain, struggle, and sacrifice. As long as you believe this, you will block all avenues of easy, joyful, and miraculous manifestation. You must consciously uninstall this old, faulty software. You must choose to install upgraded beliefs through your focused attention. Replace them with truths like, "I am a beloved child of an infinitely abundant universe. Money is a beautiful tool that allows me to create good in the world and bless the lives of others. I can be immensely wealthy and deeply spiritual, generous, and kind. I create value for others with joy, and I am compensated abundantly with ease." This new belief system gives rise to a new way of operating in the world. You move from the paradigm of hustle to the paradigm of inspired action. The hustle mentality is born from the fear of scarcity. It is the belief that you must force, strive, and struggle your way to success, pushing a giant boulder up a hill through sheer effort. It is exhausting, and it is a vibration of lack. Inspired action is the natural result of an aligned state of being. After you have done your inner work clarifying your vision, feeling the wish fulfilled, and letting go, the universe will begin to present you with opportunities and ideas. Inspired action is the next logical step that feels light, exciting, and energizing. It doesn't feel like work, it feels like play. It is the intuitive nudge to call a certain person, the sudden idea for a creative project that fills you with passion, the impulse to attend an event where you meet a key collaborator. The universe is not asking you to do all the heavy lifting. It is asking you to dance with it. It will open the doors, but you must have the joy and the courage to walk through them. Pay attention to the feeling behind your actions. If it feels heavy and forced, you are hustling. If it feels light and exciting, you are following the path of inspired action, and the universe will rush to support you. Consider the metaphor of a mighty river. Its power, its beauty, its very essence comes from its constant, unimpeded flow. It receives freely from the countless streams that trickle down from the mountains, and it gives freely to the vast, welcoming expanse of the ocean. It is a perfect conduit of circulation. Now, imagine a part of that river grows fearful. It starts to believe that the mountain streams will dry up. It decides to hoard its resources. It builds a dam to stop its own flow, desperately trying to hold on to the water it has. What is the result? The water behind the dam becomes stagnant, murky, and lifeless. Algae grows. It ceases to be a vibrant river and becomes a dying swamp. Hoarding, which is born from the fear of lack, ironically, destroys the very vitality it seeks to preserve. Your own prosperity is this river. To keep it flowing, you must be both a gracious receiver and a joyful giver. This is the law of circulation. You must exhale to inhale. When you give freely of your resources, be it a generous tip to a waiter, a donation to a cause that touches your heart, or the simple gift of your time, your praise, or your expertise, you are sending a powerful signal of trust to the universe. You are declaring with your actions, I have more than enough. I am not afraid. I am a channel for abundance. And I know that as I give, more is always flowing to me. This act of joyful giving keeps your own channels clear and open, allowing the river of abundance to rush through your life with ever-increasing force. True prosperity, then, is not something you chase or accumulate. It is a state of consciousness that you cultivate. It is the natural, inevitable consequence of a mind that has been liberated from the prison of scarcity, and a heart that has been opened to the joyful, benevolent flow of life itself. It is knowing, in every cell of your being, that you are supported, that you are provided for, and that you are one with an infinitely abundant source. But of what use is a grand palace if you must live in it alone? What true joy is there in a mountain of gold if it is not shared in the context of deep, meaningful, and loving connection? The universal principles of flow, of reflection, and of vibration apply just as powerfully to the immense riches of the human heart. And so, we now turn our attention from the currency of the world to the currency of the soul. As we learn to craft relationships of profound depth, having learned to align ourselves with the universal river of abundance, we now turn our attention from the riches of the world to the immeasurable riches of the heart. For no amount of material wealth can fill the void of a lonely soul, and no worldly success can mend the pain of a broken connection. We now enter one of the most sacred and revealing classrooms of the human experience, the classroom of our relationships. And we must begin with the central, foundational truth from the forbidden book. Every single person who enters your life, from the most fleeting acquaintance to the most intimate partner, is a sacred mirror. They have been sent to you not by accident, but by divine appointment. They have come to show you a perfect, unflinching reflection of your own inner world, your own hidden beliefs, your own unhealed wounds, and your own radiant light. To understand this is to forever cease being a victim in the drama of human connection and to become its conscious architect. The great law of vibration, which governs the flow of abundance, governs the flow of relationships with the exact same impersonal perfection. You do not attract the partner you want with your conscious mind. You attract the partner who is a perfect vibrational match to your subconscious state of being. We spend so much time making lists of qualities we desire in another. They must be kind, funny, stable, attractive. But the universe does not read your list. It reads your energy. The most potent form of manifestation in relationships is not to seek the right person, but to become the right person. Do you desire a partner who is unconditionally loving and accepting? Then you must first learn to love and accept every part of yourself, especially your shadow. Do you wish for someone who is honest and trustworthy? You must first become ruthlessly honest with yourself and live a life of impeccable integrity. Do you long for someone who is emotionally open and available? You must first learn to sit with your own feelings and communicate your own truth with clarity and courage. The universe will not bring you a whole and healed person to complete your feeling of brokenness. It will, with loving precision, I bring you another person who perfectly mirrors the vibration of your own inner fractures, so that you might finally see them, acknowledge them, and begin the sacred work of healing them yourself. Wholeness attracts wholeness. Consider the story of a woman we will call Clara. For years, Clara finds herself in a painful, repeating pattern. She falls in love with men who are charming and exciting, but who are ultimately emotionally unavailable, distant, or unfaithful. After each heartbreaking ending, she blames the man. She tells her friends, all the good men are taken, or men just can't be trusted. She is trapped in the story that she is a victim, and the problem is out there. But after a particularly painful breakup, something shifts. In her sorrow, she finally asks a new question. What is the common denominator in all of these failed relationships? The answer, of course, is her. With newfound courage, she begins to look inward. She uncovers a deep, hidden belief, planted in a lonely childhood, that she is fundamentally unworthy of consistent, stable love. She discovers a profound, terrified fear of abandonment. This unhealed wound was her true point of attraction. She was subconsciously drawn to men who could not fully commit because their emotional distance felt familiar. Their eventual departure, while painful, was a perfect validation of her core belief that she would always be left behind. Her outer world was simply a mirror of her inner conviction. The story, however, does not end there. Clara embarks on a profound journey of self-love. She learns to give herself the validation, security, and worthiness she had been desperately seeking from others. She reparents her own inner child. She learns to enjoy her own company. And as she becomes whole, a miracle happens. The type of man she is attracted to begins to change. She is no longer drawn to the exciting but unstable man. She finds herself attracted to kindness, to stability, to genuine connection. She has changed her vibration. And so, the mirror of her reality has no choice but to reflect a more beautiful image back to her. As we become whole within ourselves, our very definition of love begins to transform. The ego-based model of love, the one we see in most movies and songs, is about possession, control, and need. It says, "I love you because you make me feel good. I need you to complete me. My happiness depends on you." This is not love, it is attachment. It is a recipe for suffering. Conscious love, the love that blossoms between two whole individuals, is based on freedom. It says, "I love you, and because I love you, I desire your highest good and your most authentic expression, even if that path does not always center around me." It is the love between two pillars holding up the same roof. They stand strong, sovereign, and independent. And it is because of their individual strength that they can support something magnificent together. If one pillar leans on the other, the entire structure collapses. True love liberates, it does not bind. To maintain the health of these conscious relationships, we must master two crucial arts of self-love: forgiveness and boundaries. Forgiveness is perhaps the most misunderstood spiritual practice. We often see it as a gift we are giving to the person who hurt us, an act of condoning their behavior. This is not the case. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. To hold on to resentment, anger, and a thirst for justice is to remain energetically chained to the person and the event that caused you pain. It is like choosing to drink a small amount of poison every day and hoping the other person will get sick. Forgiveness is the act of you taking the key, unlocking your own shackle, and walking away in freedom. It is a profound act of energetic hygiene. It is declaring, "I love myself too much to continue carrying the heavy, toxic weight of this old story." You cancel the energetic debt, not for them, but for you. If forgiveness is the act of cleaning out your energetic space, then setting healthy boundaries is the act of fencing that space to keep it clean. Boundaries are not walls you build to punish others or keep love out. They are a clear and loving declaration to yourself and to the world of what is and is not acceptable in your sacred space. They are the practical application of self-worth, when you can say no calmly and without guilt, when you can state your needs clearly without aggression. You are teaching people how to treat you by demonstrating the high value you place on yourself. A person who does not respect your boundaries is simply revealing that they are not a vibrational match for your self-esteem. And this information is a gift. Every relationship in your life, past and present, has been a perfect assignment from your soul. designed to show you exactly where you need to grow. The people who triggered you were your greatest teachers. The people who loved you were a reflection of the love you were learning to give yourself. But the greatest and most important relationship you will ever have, the one that determines the quality of all the others, is the one you have with yourself. This sacred relationship extends to the very vessel that carries you through this earthly experience. Our physical body is in constant, intimate communication with us, a living, breathing mirror of our every thought and emotion. To deepen our journey into wholeness, we must now learn to listen to the whispers of our physical temple. Having explored the intricate mirrors of our relationships with others, we now turn to the most intimate, tangible, and lifelong relationship we will ever have, the one with our own physical body. In our modern world, we have been taught to see our bodies as biological machines, complex arrangements of flesh and bone that are prone to breaking down, to aging, and to betraying us with illness and pain. We treat the body as a vehicle to be managed, a problem to be solved, or worse, an enemy to be fought. This is a profound and tragic misunderstanding. Your body is not a machine, it is a miracle. It is a colony of trillions of intelligent cells, all working in a seamless, magnificent harmony. It is a dense and beautiful crystallization of your own consciousness. A living, breathing, sacred temple designed to house your spirit on this earthly journey. To learn to honor this temple, to listen to its wisdom, and to participate in its well-being is to unlock a new dimension of vitality and joy. For those who doubt the immense power of consciousness over biology, we must first look at the undeniable and scientifically validated phenomenon of the placebo effect. In countless studies, patients suffering from a wide array of ailments are given a simple sugar pill, a completely inert substance, but are told it is a powerful new medicine designed to cure them. A remarkable percentage of these patients experience real, measurable, and sometimes miraculous healing. Their pain vanishes. Their tumors shrink. Their symptoms disappear. What healed them, it was not the pill. It was the power of their own belief. The unwavering conviction that they were receiving something that would make them well was the signal that activated the master chemist within their own body. A pharmacy that can produce the most potent painkillers, anti-inflammatories, and healing agents known. The placebo effect is not a strange anomaly. It is the fundamental rule of your biology. It is the constant, everyday proof that your body takes its orders directly from the beliefs held in your mind. The opposite is also true. In the nocebo effect, patients who are warned of negative side effects from a harmless substance will often manifest those very symptoms, creating illness out of pure negative belief. Your body is the most obedient of servants. It does not question the commands you give it. It simply, faithfully, converts your beliefs into biological reality. With this understanding, consider the profound implications of your daily internal monologue. Your body is not separate from your mind. It is one unified field of intelligence. Every single one of the trillions of cells that make up your temple is constantly eavesdropping on your thoughts and feelings. When you live in a state of chronic stress, worry, and fear, your brain releases a cascade of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your cells are bathed in this chemical soup of anxiety. Over time, this toxic bath suppresses your immune system, creates chronic inflammation, disrupts your digestion, and accelerates the aging process. When you engage in harsh self-criticism, telling yourself you are not good enough, not attractive enough, not worthy enough, you are sending waves of self-rejection to every cell in your being. You are, quite literally, programming your body for disease with the poison of your own thoughts. Conversely, when you cultivate feelings of love, joy, and gratitude, your brain releases a symphony of healing chemicals. It produces endorphins, the body's natural opiates. It releases oxytocin, the hormone of bonding and connection. It floods your system with neuropeptides that boost your immune cells and command your body to repair and rejuvenate itself. You are either bathing your cells in the chemistry of stress or the chemistry of healing with every thought you think. The choice is yours in every single moment. From this new perspective, we must learn to see physical symptoms not as an enemy, but as a messenger. We are conditioned to view pain or discomfort as a malfunction, something to be silenced with a pill as quickly as possible so we can get on with our busy lives. But a symptom is often the final, desperate attempt of your body's innate intelligence to get your attention. It is a message, often symbolic, about a deeper emotional or spiritual imbalance. That recurring tension headache may be your body's way of screaming. The mental pressure you are putting on yourself is unsustainable. The chronic indigestion could be a physical manifestation of a situation in your life that you simply cannot stomach. Persistent, bone-deep fatigue might be a sign not just of physical exhaustion, but of a deep spiritual weariness from living a life that is not in alignment with your soul's purpose. The next time you feel a pain or a symptom, instead of reacting with fear and resistance, try reacting with curiosity and compassion. Place a hand over the area and ask it gently, what is your message for me? What part of my life? What thought pattern? What unexpressed emotion are you asking me to look at? By listening to the whisper, you may not have to hear the scream. This intimate mind-body dialogue is the foundation of profound healing. There are now countless, well-documented cases of individuals who have healed themselves from conditions deemed incurable by conventional medicine. People have reversed advanced cancers, debilitating autoimmune diseases, and chronic pain, not through a new drug, but through a radical transformation of consciousness. Through deep meditation and visualization, they changed their beliefs about who they were and what was possible. They learned to consciously generate the elevated emotions of love, gratitude, and wholeness, bathing their cells in a new chemical reality. They gave their body a new mind. You have this same power within you. You can begin by practicing visualization. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and create a vivid, detailed image of your body in a state of perfect, radiant health. See golden light flowing through every organ and every cell, cleansing and rejuvenating. Feel the joy, the freedom, the ease of moving in a body that is strong, flexible, and full of energy. In doing this, you are providing your body with a new, healthy blueprint to follow. Couple this with the practice of gratitude. Before you sleep, scan your body with your mind's eye and send genuine, heartfelt thanks to each part for its ceaseless, miraculous work. Thank you, heart, for beating for me tirelessly every moment of my life. Thank you, lungs, for drawing in the sacred breath of life. Thank you, immune system, for being my vigilant protector. This is not empty sentiment. It is a powerful act of chemical and energetic transformation. Your body is your wisest counselor, your most loyal friend, and your most direct connection to the experience of being alive on this earth. By learning its language, honoring its wisdom, and consciously participating in its well-being, you become a true co-creator in your own vitality. You cease to be a fearful tenant in a faulty machine, and you begin to inhabit your temple as its loving and grateful steward. As we bring our physical being, our relationships, and our sense of abundance into greater harmony and flow, a deeper, more existential question naturally begins to surface. What is the grand purpose of this healed, whole, and empowered life? We now turn our focus from the how of living to the profound why. It is time to search for the brilliant, guiding light of your own North Star. We have journeyed through the great landscapes of our inner and outer worlds. We have learned to harmonize our minds, our relationships, and our physical temples. We have cultivated a sense of flow and abundance. And now, in this state of newfound wholeness and vitality, The soul, no longer consumed by the struggle for survival, naturally begins to ask a new and more profound question. What is all of this for? What is the meaning behind this existence? Why am I here? We now arrive at the search for our life's purpose. Our culture often portrays this as a stressful, monumental quest to find a single, hidden treasure. We are made to feel that if we don't have a grand, world-changing mission, our lives are somehow lacking. This is a painful illusion. Your purpose is not a destination you must find. It is a guiding light within you that you must simply learn to see. It is your North Star. It is not something you invent. It is something you uncover. Something you remember. A beautiful and practical framework for this uncovering comes from the Japanese concept of ikigai, which can be translated as a reason for being. It is found at the intersection of 4 fundamental circles of your life. Imagine these 4 circles overlapping. The first circle is what you love. This is your passion. These are the activities that make you lose all track of time. The subjects you would learn about even if no one paid you. This is the fuel for your journey. The second circle is what you are good at. These are your natural talents and your hard-won skills. This is your unique toolkit, the set of gifts you have to offer. The third, and crucial, circle is what the world needs. This is where your personal passion connects to a collective service. It is the problems you feel a natural pull to solve, the pain you wish to soothe, the joy you wish to spread. This gives your purpose a sense of value beyond yourself. And the fourth circle is what you can be paid for. This is the practical element that ensures your purpose is sustainable, allowing you to integrate your gifts into the flow of worldly abundance. At the center, where all 4 of these circles meet, lies your ikigai. This is not a rigid formula to be solved overnight, but a powerful set of questions for deep and honest self-reflection. What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? And how can you weave these together into a beautiful tapestry of a life well lived? To help you answer these questions, the universe constantly provides you with clues, with internal signals that point you toward your North Star. You must learn to listen to them. One of the most misunderstood of these clues is the emotion of envy. We are taught that envy is a toxic, shameful feeling, but if we look at it through the lens of self-discovery, it can be a powerful compass. When you feel a sharp pang of envy towards someone, it is rarely because you wish them ill. It is because they are demonstrating a reality or a quality that you, on a deep subconscious level, the desire for yourself and believe is possible for you. The person who is a successful artist, the friend who travels the world freely, the colleague who speaks with such confidence, their success is a mirror to a potential that lies dormant within you. The task is not to stew in the low vibration of envy, but to perform an alchemical transformation. You must ask, what is it about this person's life that is calling to my own soul? And then you must transmute the energy of envy into the high-frequency fuel of inspiration, giving yourself permission to pursue your own version of that dream. An even more reliable guide on your path is the simple, profound signal of joy. Your purpose is not hidden at the end of a long and miserable road of sacrifice. This is the great lie of the martyr complex. The joy is the path. The universe whispers its guidance to you in the language of delight, curiosity, and excitement. What subjects do you love to read about for hours on end? What activities make you feel truly alive and energized? What conversations leave you feeling expanded and inspired? These are not trivial distractions. They are the breadcrumbs left by your soul to lead you home. Follow them. Trust them. If you are fascinated by ancient history, read about it. If you feel a sense of joy when you are cooking for others, do it more often. If you feel a sense of flow when you are organizing a chaotic space, honor that gift by consistently moving in the direction of your authentic joy. Step by step, you will be led, as if by an invisible hand, to the larger expressions of your life's purpose. It is also vital that we expand our definition of what purpose looks like. Our society tends to glorify only the grandest and most visible of callings: the celebrated artist, the revolutionary inventor, the charismatic leader. This narrow view creates immense pressure and leads many to feel that their ordinary lives lack meaning. This is fundamentally untrue. Your purpose may not be your job title. Your purpose might be the profound and unwavering kindness you show to every person you meet. It might be the creation of a safe, nurturing, and loving home for your family. It might be the incredible gift of being able to truly listen, without judgment, to a friend in need. It might be the beauty and order you cultivate in your garden, a small patch of Eden that brings a moment of peace to all who pass by. Purpose is not about the scale of the action. It is about the quality of the energy you bring to it. Any act, no matter how small, when performed with full presence, with love, and with authenticity, is a powerful expression of your soul's purpose. The great Renaissance artist Michelangelo was once asked how he created his breathtaking masterpiece, the Statue of David. He famously replied, "I saw the angel in the marble, and I carved until I set him free." He did not see his work as building something new. He saw it as a process of removal, of chipping away everything that was not the angel, to reveal the perfection that was already contained within the stone. Your purpose is exactly like this. It is already within you. It is not something you have to find, build, or invent. It is the masterpiece that you already are. Your life's work is simply to chip away at everything that is not you. You must carve away the stone of your fears, your limiting beliefs, your self-doubt, the expectations of others, and the conditioning of society. With every act of courage, with every choice that is aligned with your authentic joy, you chip away another piece of the stone, until the magnificent truth of who you are and why you are here is finally set free for all the world to see. Living from this place of purpose is the soul's ultimate expression of itself. It is the joyful alignment of your inner truth with your outer reality, creating a life of deep meaning and fulfillment. And when you operate from this state of authentic, purposeful expression, a profound shift in consciousness begins to occur. Your sense of being a small, separate self starts to dissolve. You begin to realize that you are not just a single instrument playing a lonely solo, but rather an essential and irreplaceable part of a vast and beautiful cosmic orchestra. This realization is the gateway to the direct and liberating experience of the state of oneness. As you begin to live in alignment with your North Star, expressing your unique purpose with joy and authenticity, a beautiful and mysterious transformation begins to take place. The rigid boundaries of the small, separate self start to soften and dissolve. You feel a growing connection to the world around you, a sense of being part of something much larger than your individual story. We have spent our journey dismantling the illusions that hold us captive, the illusions of our limitations, our obstacles, and our separation from our desires. We now arrive at the final veil, the most fundamental and pervasive illusion of all, the illusion of the separate self. We now enter the vast and boundless waters of the ocean of consciousness to experience the profound and liberating truth of oneness. From the moment we learn to speak, we are taught to identify with the ego. The ego is the construct of I and me and mine. It is your name, your history, your personality, your collection of beliefs and memories. It is not an enemy. It is a necessary and brilliant tool. A user interface designed to help your boundless consciousness navigate the specifics of this three-dimensional reality. The problem does not lie with the ego itself. The problem arises when we mistake the user interface for the entire computer. We forget that we are the vast, silent awareness, and we come to believe that we are nothing more than the small, noisy, and often frightened personality construct. To transcend the ego is not an act of self-annihilation. It is not a spiritual goal to destroy your personality. It is, rather, an act of profound expansion. It is the realization that you are not the small self, but you are the loving awareness in which the small self appears and disappears. You are the screen on which the movie of your life is playing. You are the sky, and your ego with all its thoughts, dramas, and feelings is just the passing weather. You have already had glimpses of this state of oneness, even if you did not have a name for it. Have you ever been so completely absorbed in an activity that the world around you seemed to melt away? Perhaps it was an artist lost in the strokes of their brush, a musician whose fingers seemed to move on their own, a programmer deep in a complex line of code, or a hiker standing on a mountaintop, breathless at the beauty of the vista. In these moments, something magical happens. The inner critic goes silent. The sense of time evaporates. The feeling of being a separate doer performing an action dissolves. The painter becomes the painting. The musician becomes the music. The hiker becomes the mountain. This is the flow state, a state of non-duality, where the separation between subject and object collapses. These are not just moments of high performance, they are spontaneous tastes of your true nature. They are windows into the reality that you are not a separate entity living in the universe. You are the universe itself, living and experiencing through a unique focal point of consciousness. There is a timeless metaphor that helps to grasp this profound truth. Imagine you are a single wave, rising up from the seemingly endless surface of a mighty ocean. You have a unique form, a specific height and shape, a temporary identity as this wave. You can look to your left and right and see other waves, each with their own individual characteristics. From the limited perspective of the wave, you might believe you are separate from them. You might feel a sense of competition, trying to be the tallest, most impressive wave. You have a distinct beginning as you gather your form and rise from the deep. And you have a clear end as you inevitably crash upon the shore, dissolving into foam. From the wave's point of view, its life is singular, temporary, and separate, but at no point in its entire existence. From the moment of its rising to the moment of its dissolving, is the wave ever anything other than the ocean itself? Its very substance, its essence, its lifeblood, is ocean. Its individuality is a beautiful, temporary expression, but its true identity is the entire, boundless, eternal ocean. We, as human beings, are exactly like these waves. We have individual bodies, distinct personalities, and unique life stories. These are our temporary forms. But our essential nature, the very substance of our consciousness, the awareness that is looking out through your eyes right now, is one and the same. We are all expressions of a single, unified ocean of consciousness. This is not a poetic idea. It is the fundamental nature of reality. The illusion of separation is created only by the limited perspective of the wave, by the ego, which identifies with the form rather than the substance. When this realization moves from an intellectual concept to a deeply felt, lived experience, it changes everything. A profound and unshakable compassion is its most immediate and natural consequence. If the person standing before you is simply another expression of the same consciousness that you are, how could you possibly harm them without, on a fundamental level, harming yourself? How could you judge them without judging yourself? The ancient spiritual teaching, love your neighbor as yourself, transforms from a difficult moral commandment into the most simple and practical description of reality. To help another is, quite literally, to help yourself. To heal another is to heal yourself. All acts of kindness are ultimately acts of self-love, rippling out through the one shared consciousness that connects us all. This is the true, deep meaning behind the ancient Sanskrit greeting, Namaste. It is so much more than a polite hello or a way to close a yoga class. When said with true understanding, it is one of the most profound spiritual statements one can make. It means, the divine light in me recognizes and bows to the very same divine light in you. It is a declaration of unity. It is a statement that says, I see past the temporary illusion of your ego, your personality, your body, and your life story. I see the eternal, radiant, divine essence within you. and I recognize it as my own. To live in a state of namaste is to see God in every face, to find yourself in every being, from the smallest insect to the most brilliant star. This realization of oneness is not a final destination, but a new and beautiful beginning. It is the key to living with a completely open heart, free from the fear and isolation that the ego creates. And from this unified, eternal perspective, our human concept of age and the passage of time transforms completely. If our true identity is the timeless ocean itself, then what meaning does the lifespan of a single wave truly have? This understanding is the secret key to unlocking a profound and unshakable vitality, the eternal youth of the soul. We have stood at the shore of the great ocean of consciousness and recognized our true nature as the water, not the temporary wave. From this boundless and eternal perspective, our human obsession with the passage of time, with counting the years of a single lifetime, begins to seem beautifully insignificant. We can now return, with new and enlightened eyes, to the central theme of our entire journey, the great promise whispered in the title of this forbidden book, The Truth of Youth. We are now, at last, ready to understand its deepest meaning. This truth has nothing to do with the smoothness of your skin or the number on your birth certificate. It has everything to do with the essential, unchanging nature of your soul. We are here to discover the fountain of youth and to realize, with liberating joy, that this fountain does not exist in some mythical, hidden land. It springs eternal from within your own consciousness. We must begin by drawing a clear and loving distinction between the aging of the body and the nature of the soul. Your body is a magnificent biological organism, a precious gift, and it is subject to the laws and cycles of this physical dimension. It has a spring of its birth, a summer of its peak vitality, an autumn of its gradual change, and a winter of its eventual, graceful release. This is a natural, sacred, and beautiful process, not a tragedy to be feared or a war to be fought. But you are not your body. You have a body, your true identity. Your consciousness, your soul, is not made of matter and is not subject to the law of entropy. It is pure awareness. It is timeless energy. It does not decay. It does not wither. It does not grow old. While the body may accumulate wrinkles, the soul accumulates wisdom. While the body's physical energy may change its form, the soul's energy simply refines its expression. The greatest act of reclaiming your eternal youth is to shift your primary identification away from the temporary vessel and toward the timeless passenger within. You are not a body that has a soul. You are an eternal soul that is having a temporary and precious, a human experience in a body. When you identify with the soul, you begin to express its inherent qualities. And these qualities are, by their very nature, eternally youthful. The first of these is an insatiable curiosity. A child learns and grows at a phenomenal rate because they exist in a state of constant wonder. Their favorite word is why. They have not yet ossified their beliefs into a rigid dogma. A youthful soul retains this beginner's mind throughout its entire existence. It resists the mental arthritis that so often comes with chronological age. The tendency to say, "I already know that," or, "That's not how things are done." A youthful soul is always learning, always exploring, always open to having its perspective shattered and rebuilt in a more beautiful way. The second hallmark is playfulness. The soul knows that this cosmic dance is a grand and joyous game. It finds delight in simple things. It laughs easily and often, and it refuses to take itself too seriously. Play is a state of high vibration, spontaneous creation, and it is the natural language of a free spirit. And the third hallmark is adaptability. An old, rigid mind is like a brittle tree that snaps in the wind of change. A youthful soul is like a supple bamboo, able to bend, to flow, and to adapt to new circumstances without breaking. It embraces change as an opportunity for growth, rather than fearing it as a threat to its security. It is always willing to unlearn in order to learn something new. Armed with this understanding, you must now give yourself full permission to shatter the collective cultural myth of age appropriateness. Our society has created a cruel and limiting timeline for the human experience. You are told you are too young for wisdom. And then, in the blink of an eye, you are told you are too old to start a new career, too old to learn to play the guitar, too old to fall madly in love, too old to wear bright colors, too old to dream a new dream. This is a poison of the collective consciousness, a hypnotic spell designed to keep people in small, predictable, and manageable boxes. You must see this for the profound lie that it is. Your soul does not have an expiration date. Your creativity does not have a retirement age. Your capacity for joy and passion is not determined by a calendar. You are an eternal being, and your only limitation is the one you accept for yourself. To claim your eternal youth is to defiantly rip up this false timeline and declare that you are on the soul's timeline, which is always and only now. History is filled with luminous examples of souls who embodied this truth, refusing to be defined by their chronological age. Consider Anna Mary Robertson, known to the world as Grandma Moses. She had lived a long and full life as a farm wife, and it was only in her late 70s, when arthritis made her beloved embroidery too difficult, that she turned to painting to keep herself busy. She did not say, "I am too old to learn a new art form." She simply followed her joy, and in doing so, she became one of the most celebrated folk artists of the 20th century, painting prolifically and holding exhibitions for more than 2 decades. Consider Colonel Harlan Sanders. After a lifetime of various jobs and setbacks, he found himself, in his mid-60s, broke and with nothing but a social security check and a secret recipe for fried chicken. He did not surrender to the idea that his productive life was over. He got in his car and began driving across the country, sleeping in the back seat and convincing restaurant owners to sell his chicken. From this seemingly hopeless starting point, he built the global empire of Kentucky Fried Chicken. The great composer Giuseppe Verdi, in his 70s and 80s, when most of his contemporaries were long retired or deceased, composed 2 of his most brilliant and complex masterpieces, the operas Otello and Falstaff. These were not the works of a man winding down, they were the explosive, passionate, and wise creations of a soul at the peak of its expressive power. This, then, is the ultimate truth of youth. It is not about preserving the body, but about liberating the soul. It is the direct and conscious connection to the infinite, timeless, and ever-present creative energy of the universe. It is the ability to be reborn in every single moment by anchoring your awareness in the now. It is the conscious choice to meet the world with curiosity over certainty, with wonder over cynicism, and with love over fear. This is the fountain that bubbles within you. It will never run dry. It is your eternal birthright. When you truly begin to live from this space of timeless, soulful youth, your entire orientation to life shifts. Your journey ceases to be about what you can get, what you can accumulate, what you can protect. It becomes about what you can express, what you can contribute, what energy you are leaving in your wake as you move through the world. Your focus shifts from personal gain to soulful giving. And this is the sacred moment where you begin to consciously craft your legacy, as you begin to drink from the fountain of your own eternal, soulful youth. Your perspective on life undergoes a radical shift. The frantic, ego-driven need to accumulate and achieve for your own sake begins to fall away, replaced by a deep, resonant desire to express and to contribute. When you are connected to an infinite inner source, your primary impulse becomes to share its overflow. It is from this expansive state that we must now consider the nature of your legacy. Our society has taught us to think of legacy as something left behind at the end of life, a financial inheritance, a monument with your name on it, a story written in a history book. But this is a limited, posthumous view. The truth, as revealed in the Forbidden Book, is that your legacy is not a summary of your life written at its end. It is a living, breathing energy that you are creating in every moment. With every thought you think and every breath you take, it is the ripple you are sending out into the great ocean of consciousness. Right now, this is the law of the ripple effect. We have learned that we are not isolated islands of consciousness, but interconnected points in a single, unified field of energy. Therefore, the vibration you emanate, the state of being you occupy, is constantly, silently, and powerfully influencing the entire field. You are a broadcasting tower, and the signal you send touches everything. Consider the simple, everyday examples. A barista who offers you a genuine, heartfelt smile sends a ripple of warmth across the counter. You carry that warmth into your office, and perhaps you offer a word of patient encouragement to a stressed colleague. Passing the ripple on, that colleague, feeling seen and supported, goes home with a lighter heart and has a more loving interaction with their child. The ripple continues, expanding in ways you will never know. Conversely, a driver who cuts you off in a fit of rage sends a ripple of anger and anxiety into your energy field. If you are not conscious, you might carry that agitation into the grocery store, snapping at the clerk, who then carries that negativity into their own home. The question is not if you are creating ripples, but what kind of ripples you are creating. Your legacy is being written in these small, seemingly insignificant moments. It is the sum total of the energy you contribute to the world, moment by moment by moment. In the science of chaos theory, there is a concept known as the butterfly effect. It posits that the tiny, almost immeasurable, flapping of a butterfly's wings in Brazil could, through an infinitely complex and amplifying chain of atmospheric events, ultimately contribute to the formation of a tornado in Texas. The point of this theory is not that we can predict these vast and complex outcomes. The point is to cultivate a profound respect for the potential power of our smallest, most seemingly insignificant actions. A single word of sincere encouragement offered to a person in doubt could be the flap of your wings that gives them the courage to start a business that will eventually employ hundreds of people. A small, anonymous act of generosity could be the flap of your wings that restores someone's faith in humanity at a critical moment, preventing them from making a tragic choice. A moment of deep, present, non-judgmental listening you offer to a friend could be the flap of your wings that allows them to heal a wound they have carried for decades, changing the entire trajectory of their family line. You may never see the tornado of positive change you unleash. You don't need to. You just need to trust the law of the ripple effect and consciously choose to flap your wings with love. How, then, do we best contribute our positive ripple to the world? Here we must learn the vital difference between being a tugboat and being a lighthouse. The tugboat is the way of the ego. It sees ships that it believes are off course, and it rushes out, straining its engines, spewing smoke, and tries to forcibly tow them back to the harbor it thinks is best. The tugboat is invasive, noisy, and full of effort. It is the energy of trying to fix people, to save them, to convince them of your truth. This approach, while often well-intentioned, is born of a subtle arrogance, and it almost always creates resistance. People do not want to be towed. The soul's path, the path of the conscious creator, is to be a lighthouse. A lighthouse does not chase after a single ship. It does not shout directions or judge the path of any vessel. It simply anchors itself firmly to its own foundation on the shore. And it shines. It tends to its own light, its own interconnection, and it radiates its beam, steadily, quietly, and without apology. It is a beacon of unwavering light in the darkness. It is there for any and all ships that are looking for a light, for any who need a point of reference in a storm. Its very existence is an act of service. Your legacy is to be this lighthouse. Do not waste your energy trying to change others. Instead, invest that energy in tending to your own inner light. Embody your joy so completely. Live your truth so authentically. And love so unconditionally that you become a radiant beacon of possibility. Your example will be a more powerful sermon than any words you could ever speak. Ultimately, the greatest legacy you can leave is one of empowerment. It is not about creating a following of people who are dependent on your light, but about inspiring others to discover and ignite their own. Did your presence in someone's life help them to realize their own strength? Did your belief in them help them to finally believe in themselves? Did your example of freedom give them the courage to unlock their own cages? This is a legacy that is truly alive. One that multiplies and expands exponentially long after you are gone. And you must know that you are not performing this sacred work in a vacuum. You are a single, vital cell in the body of humanity. And humanity is currently in the midst of a profound and often turbulent awakening. Every time you choose to heal a personal wound, every time you choose compassion over judgment, every time you choose to radiate love instead of fear, you are contributing directly to the healing and evolution of the entire species. Your inner peace contributes to world peace. Your personal transformation is a direct and potent contribution to the global transformation. Your seemingly small, personal work has cosmic significance. Your legacy is not a static monument you leave behind. It is the energetic signature of your time on this planet. It is written not on a tombstone, but in the subtle and eternal fabric of the cosmos. It is the light you shine, the love you share, the healing you embody, and the empowerment you inspire in others. To wield this kind of influence, to be a conscious contributor to the world's awakening, is a magnificent gift and a profound honor. But with such great power, there must also come an equally great responsibility. We must now turn to the sacred ethics of the Creator, to the wisdom required to wield this formidable power with integrity, with humility, and with unconditional love. We have journeyed together to the highest peaks of consciousness. We have peered into the very engine room of reality and claimed our divine inheritance as conscious creators. We have learned to shape our world with our thoughts, to tune our reality with our feelings, and to understand our lives as a meaningful expression of a timeless, purposeful soul. But here, at this high altitude, the air is thin and clear, and we must tread with great care and reverence. For with the awakening of such great power comes a sacred and non-negotiable responsibility. To be handed the paintbrush of God is one thing. To use it with wisdom, with grace, and with love is another entirely. This chapter is about the ethics of creation, the final and most important test of a true master. It is about learning to wield your formidable power with integrity. The creative force of the universe is impartial. It is like electricity. It does not judge whether it is being used to light a hospital or to power an instrument of torture. It simply responds to the intention and the focus of the user. Therefore, you must become a vigilant guardian of your own intentions. All acts of creation are made upon one of two altars, the altar of the ego, or the altar of the soul. Creation from the altar of the ego is born from a sense of lack, fear, and separation. Its goals are to control, to dominate, to accumulate, and to gain validation from the outside world. The ego asks, what can I get from this? How will this make me look important? How can I use this to fill the empty, anxious void I feel inside? It seeks to build monuments to itself. This path of creation, while it can certainly manifest material things, often leads to hollow victories, unintended negative consequences, and a life that looks impressive on the outside but feels empty on the inside. Creation from the altar of the soul, however, is born from a sense of wholeness, love, and connection. Its goals are not to get, but to give. Its driving forces are joy, authentic expression, service, and growth. The soul asks, What beauty can I bring forth? What solution can I offer? How can I use my gifts to contribute to the well-being of the whole? What is the most loving and joyful way I can express my true nature? This path of creation feels light, expansive, and effortless. It is not a struggle to fill a void, but a joyous overflow from a full heart. Before you embark on any act of intentional manifestation, you must pause and ask yourself, with ruthless honesty, upon which altar am I placing this request? This leads us to the most sacred and inviolable law in the spiritual universe, the law of free will. As you become more adept at using these principles, there may arise a powerful temptation to apply them to other people. The temptation to try and force a specific person to fall in love with you. The temptation to try and manipulate a business partner into agreeing with your plan. The temptation to try and change the beliefs or behaviors of your family members. You must understand this. In the core of your being, this is a profound violation, and the universe will not support it. Each soul is a sovereign entity on its own unique journey of discovery. You have no right to interfere with or attempt to subjugate the will of another, no matter how well-intentioned you believe you are. To attempt to manifest a specific person's love is not an act of love, it is an act of control. Born from your own loneliness, you cannot create a genuine, authentic, and loving relationship from the dark energy of manipulation. You would only succeed in manifesting a puppet, a hollow reflection of your own neediness, which would ultimately bring you great pain and karmic entanglement. The prayer of the conscious creator is never, "Make that person love me." The prayer is, "I am now ready for and open to receiving a relationship that is for the highest good of all." Involved a relationship built on mutual love, mutual respect, and mutual freedom. You focus on the quality of the experience you wish to have, and you trust the universe to bring you the perfect person to co-create that experience with, in their own perfect timing and with their own free will. The ancient Greek myth of King Midas is a timeless and tragic cautionary tale about this very principle. Midas, a king who was already wealthy, was obsessed with riches. His desire came from the ego's altar of greed. Granted a wish by a god, he did not ask for wisdom or happiness. He asked that everything he touched would turn to gold. At first, he was ecstatic. He ran through his palace, turning a rose, a table, a statue into glittering, solid gold. He was giddy with his newfound power. But the horror of his choice soon dawned. When he sat down to eat, his bread and wine turned to hard, inedible metal in his hands. His gift had made it impossible for him to receive nourishment. The ultimate tragedy struck when his beloved young daughter ran to embrace him, and in his arms, she transformed into a cold, lifeless, golden statue. His wish, born from greed, had destroyed the very thing his heart truly loved. The universe had delivered his request perfectly, but because his intention was impure, his manifestation became his own personal hell. This is an eternal warning. Be mindful of what you ask for, and be even more mindful of the place within you from which you are asking. So, what is the Creator's ethical compass? It is a simple question you must ask yourself before every creative act. Does this desire originate from love, or does it originate from fear? A desire born of love feels expansive. It is inclusive. It brings joy to you and adds value to the world. A desire born of fear feels contractive. It is exclusive. It is driven by anxiety, scarcity, and the need to control. Let this question be your unfailing guide. And finally, the conscious creator must cultivate a profound sense of humility. It is all too easy for the ego to take credit for its newfound powers, to puff out its chest and declare, "I did this. I manifested this." This is the birth of the spiritual ego, which is the most subtle and dangerous trap of all. You must remember, always, that you are not the source of the power. The universe, the great ocean of consciousness, is the power. You are not the electricity. You are the wire. You are not the lightning. You are the lightning rod. Your sacred duty is to work on yourself, to purify your intentions, to clear your own channel, so that this immense, loving, and intelligent power can flow through you with as little distortion as possible. This perspective fosters not arrogance, but a deep and abiding sense of gratitude and reverence for the magnificent force you have been invited to partner with, to hold this incredible power with integrity, to create with a clean heart, to manifest for the good of all, and to walk with the humility of a servant to the divine. This is the mark of true spiritual mastery. And now, having walked this entire path, from uncovering the secrets of the forbidden book to understanding the awesome responsibility of the Creator, only one final step remains. It is not enough to know the path. It is not enough to understand the map. The time has now come to walk it, to breathe it, to embody it in every moment of your waking life. The time has come to live the forbidden truth. We have reached the final page of this forbidden book. Together, we have journeyed through the labyrinth of the mind, soared to the heights of consciousness, and reclaimed the divine power that has always been our birthright. We have unsealed the scrolls of creation. But this is not an ending. It is a commencement. It is the moment the student receives their diploma, not as a trophy for what they have learned, but as a commission to go out into the world and apply that knowledge. For there exists a vast and bottomless chasm between knowing the path and walking the path. The journey so far has been about studying the map. The journey that begins for you now, in this very moment, is about stepping into the territory. It is about the sacred and joyful task of embodying this truth. To intellectually understand that your thoughts create your reality is one thing. To live every moment with the vigilant, joyful, and unwavering awareness of that truth is another entirely. To read about the law of vibration is interesting. To consciously manage your own frequency in the midst of life's storms is mastery. This audiobook, this collection of words and ideas, was never meant to be a piece of passive entertainment or a set of interesting concepts to be debated with friends. It is a user manual for your consciousness, and a user manual is utterly useless if it is left on the shelf. The time for highlighting passages and taking notes is over. The work now moves from the conceptual to the visceral, from the mind to the very marrow of your bones. It is no longer about learning the truth. It is about being the truth. The forbidden book is no longer forbidden to you, because you have realized that you are the book, and your life is the story you are writing on its pages. How do you begin to live this truth? The real test of this knowledge is not found in a silent meditation retreat or on top of a sacred mountain. It is found on a Tuesday morning, when the alarm clock fails to go off. It is found in a traffic jam, when you are late for an important meeting. It is found in a difficult conversation with a loved one. The practice is to integrate these profound spiritual principles into the most mundane and ordinary moments of your life. For it is here that your reality is truly forged. When you drink your morning coffee, do not do so while scrolling through a feed of negative news, starting your day in a state of reaction and anxiety. Instead, make it a sacred ritual. Feel the warmth of the mug in your hands. Inhale its rich aroma. Taste it with a sense of deep gratitude for the simple pleasure. In this small act, you have chosen to begin your day in a state of presence, peace, and appreciation. When you are stuck in traffic, instead of allowing frustration and anger to flood your system with stress chemicals, see it as a divine pause. It is a gift of time. Use it to take 3 deep, conscious breaths. Use it to send love and peace to all the other equally stressed drivers around you. Use it to listen to a piece of music that elevates your soul. In doing so, you have transmuted a moment of potential stress into a moment of sacred practice. When you greet a stranger at the store, see beyond their tired expression and recognize the divine light within them. Offer a genuine smile, a ripple of positive energy into the world, with no expectation of anything in return. When you face a challenge at work, a project that seems overwhelming, you must immediately catch the old thought pattern of "this is a problem." and consciously replace it with, "This is an opportunity for me to grow, to innovate, and to demonstrate my strength." Spirituality is not something you do for 20 minutes in the morning. It is the very essence of who you are in every moment. Let us revisit the story of a soul on this journey. Imagine a man at the beginning, feeling like a helpless victim of his circumstances. He believes his boss is the source of his stress. His finances are the source of his anxiety. And the world is an unfriendly, competitive place. He is a character in a story he believes he has no power to change. But then, he stumbles upon the forbidden knowledge. He begins, tentatively at first, to apply the principles. He starts a gratitude journal. He spends 5 minutes each morning visualizing his life with a feeling of joy. He has a difficult conversation with his boss, not from a place of anger, but from a place of clear boundaries and self-respect. He begins to meditate, learning to watch his thoughts instead of being consumed by them. He courageously faces the shadows of his past, forgiving those who hurt him, and more importantly, forgiving himself. Mons Gobe. On the outside, his life may not look dramatically different yet. He may have the same job, the same apartment, but on the inside, everything has changed. He walks with a quiet confidence. He no longer reacts to life with fear. He responds with creative intention. He finds profound joy in the simple act of walking in the park. He feels a deep, empathetic connection to others, seeing them not as competitors, but as fellow travelers. He is no longer the victim in the story. He has picked up the pen. He has become the author. This inner transformation is the ultimate prize. The outer world will inevitably reorganize itself to match this new inner state. But the real victory is the unshakable peace and sovereign power that he has discovered within himself. As you continue this practice, your entire experience of life begins to change. It ceases to be a battle to be won, or a series of problems to be solved. Life becomes a magnificent and improvisational dance with the universe. You lead with a clear and joyful intention, and the universe responds with a circumstance. You then, with grace and flexibility, adapt to that circumstance and offer your next inspired move. There is a sense of play, of partnership, of co-creation. You are no longer trying to impose your will upon a rigid reality. You are dancing with a loving and responsive partner who desires your joy as much as you do. And in this dance, the final transformation of your identity occurs. In the beginning, you were learning to use the law of attraction, as if it were a tool separate from you. But through this process of deep, sustained embodiment, you transcend this separation. You no longer need to use the law, because you have become the law. You are a walking, breathing, living expression of the creative principles of the cosmos. Manifestation is no longer a technique you apply. It is the natural, effortless byproduct of your state of being. The forbidden book is now closed, but your life, the true book, is now wide open. Its pages are blank. The ink is in your hands. You have learned the grammar of the cosmos and the language of the soul. You are no longer merely the reader of your life story. You have claimed your birthright as its author. The time for learning is complete. The time for living has, in this very moment, begun. We began this journey together in a whisper, with a question about a forbidden book and the secret truth of youth. We have traveled far since that first moment. We have walked through the prism of perception, learning that we see the world not as it is, but as we are. We have felt the genesis wave of our own thoughts, understanding them not as idle chatter, but as the very pulse of creation. We learn to hear the cosmic symphony of vibration, and to compose our own verse in its magnificent song. We faced the dragons of our own inner shadow, only to discover they were guarding our greatest treasures of power and authenticity. We learned to let go, to forgive, and to see every obstacle as a divine guidepost on our path. We have deconstructed the very fabric of time, stepped into the river of abundance, and recognized our relationships as sacred mirrors. We have come to see our bodies as intelligent temples and our lives as the expression of a unique and vital purpose. We have journeyed from the illusion of the separate, powerless victim to the profound, humbling truth of the unified, sovereign creator. And what have we discovered at the end of this path? At the final page of this forbidden book, the ultimate secret is this: there is no book. The wisdom was never hidden in an external text. The power was never outside of you. The forbidden book is you. Its pages are your own consciousness. Its words are the beliefs you choose to write upon it. It was forbidden only because you were taught to fear your own power, to believe you were not worthy of reading such a sacred text. And the truth of youth, the great promise of our journey, is not a magic potion to reverse the years. It is the direct, cellular, undeniable experience of your soul's timeless, eternal nature. It is the freedom to be reborn in every moment, to create your world anew with every conscious breath. It is the final, liberating realization that peace, joy, and abundance are not distant destinations you must struggle to reach. They are your natural state. They are your factory settings. They are the truth of your being, waiting patiently to be expressed once you have chipped away all the fear, all the doubt, and all the limitation that is not big and never was. You. The audiobook ends here. But your story, the real story, is just beginning. The universe has handed you the pen. Your heart is the ink. The infinite, unfolding moment of now is your blank page. Do not be afraid to write a bold and masterful story. Write a story of breathtaking love, of unreasonable joy, of courageous vulnerability, and of boundless abundance. Fill the pages with laughter and adventure, with kindness and with wonder. The time for seeking is over. The time for being has come. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean, in a single, magnifique drop. Now, go and create your masterpiece.